Huge day here for the market. Back to the upside, individual movers. We'll get into a few of them coming up, but very strong to say the least. Once again, all-time highs across the board. Just noticing this, dollar's downside in a pretty big way here. Today's the daily chart, but it's been basically the opposite of equities right out of the gate. As soon as 9:30 open, we've had a huge move to the downside with yields as well. So everything helping as far as stocks moving higher, including Tesla was just noticing here back to almost day highs, but lagging the rest of this rally somewhat. Anyways, 1.5% right now for the NASDAQ, if you're keeping score, 0.8 for the S&P, 2.3 still positive for oil as well, having a pretty good day. I did see some of the energy names here, mostly green on the day, 1.2% there for XOM, CVX, MRO, leading actually 1.8% there. For ConocoPhillips as well. Yeah, producer and manufacturing stocks back to the upside this morning. And then we did get a little bit of a fade off in some of them, including John Deere, I noticed, lagging the overall market. But it's all about tech. Nvidia, 3.5%. AVGO, 8% to the upside. 4.7 for AMD, Qualcomm, Intel leading the way as well. But Microsoft, Google, and Apple, I think, are more of an interesting story because they're not participating whatsoever today in this move higher. We were talking about a couple of different angles. We'll get into it coming up here for Apple this morning if you're with us in the pre-market. So interesting to see it down 0.8%, open below that 180. Held below that 180, has done basically nothing throughout the day. 3% CRM, they reported this week. Netflix, Adobe, ACN, Oracle, to say the least. I mean, there is a decent amount of negativity here as well on this board, including some of the consumer names over here, Coke, Pepsi, Nike. Nike's down 1.3% today. Banks are weak as well. Some of the pharmaceutical names higher on the session as well, but we'll get into that. Look at this. Look at the NASDAQ. Just goes straight to the upside. This is a 15-minute chart. I was talking about yesterday or 2 days ago, there was only 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever it was, red candles. We're setting up for another one of those days. There's 3 right now on a 15-minute chart. 3 red candles, guys. Pretty impressive here.
I mean, there's
back, baby.
1 red candle on the ES. It's insanity. This market is super strong right now. It looks like, I mean, a 2% kind of day on the NASDAQ feels kind of inevitable. Here, your fresh highs, making more highs, and highs on top of highs. The only things that are weak, there's a seller at Palantir 25 and probably some small caps. The market's so strong today that even GameStop has now gone up on reasons I can't figure out just yet. Still trying to figure out what's going on with them. But it makes sense when tech is strong that you would have some of the consumer staples and that kind of stuff be a little bit relatively weak. So I don't think that's entirely surprising. I literally just covered my Intel long and I covered my AMD long, and there has not been a pullback. If you get out, there have not been dips in almost everything. But you got to be patient for them. I think there will be dips this afternoon, but on this 60-minute chart, no red. On a 15-minute chart, I count 4 red candles. Fine, 4 red candles on the NASDAQ. It doesn't matter. It's been an absolute rocket ship to the upside. Good job sticking with it. Because what I found is I got out of a couple of longs. I'm like, okay, just go to the standard stairs to the upside. If there's no dip, then there's not much to do. It depends on what you're looking at, though.
Yeah, I mean, we were really lucky to find a bunch of dips today, to be honest with you. But we got one big short. I mean, we're talking a little bit about Apple. I don't know if we're talking about Apple or not, but Apple was a great short off 180. Look at that cover down there at 178.25. There is some size here at 50, but it's this. It's this and this only. I mean, Meta today, here's a couple breaks at 97. We really hit that and liked it, man. 501, $4. Then these are the dips into VWAP. Like, I cannot believe it. We actually tweeted out to Brian Shannon and everything. We're just like, wow, what a great little VWAP trade this was. And we took a piece out at 500. Now you're at 504 right now, and we're still into a quarter of what we have. So this is a big trade alert right now. It won't even be close. Meta will easily be the #1 name. And then AMD, we lost too much money on this playing around with it early. But look at that 200 break now. Break in, still in. So now we're 225 in the money on this one. To say it was a good afternoon or lunchtime of trade would be an understatement. It was a fantastic afternoon of trade. The only stock that we, or more, midday, the only thing we missed was, and I'm not sure why my guy didn't take this because it was written down on the sticky note, and Sharif knows better than this. We said short Tesla at 205. So Tesla comes right here. Unfortunately, and this is the sacrifice that I put in for everybody for the podcast. We weren't sitting here, didn't even notice it. It goes to 204.50. So that's the perfect short for a 205 print. So missed trade right there, Sharif, but that's all right. You had a great midday show. I like that. That's the only thing that I missed on the short there, I feel like. And it might be the only name. The only reason I bring this up is because we were looking for shorts. And I feel like this might have been the opportunity there. I hope it comes back. But yeah, close one, no cigar there. We'll wait to see if we can get it back. Things are starting to fade out a little bit. Meta, maybe if we break... Not that much. Meta, maybe if we break 503. Let's hold out. I mean, we're winding this 50 period right now.
GameStop's pulling back. I confirm with Brennan, there is nothing happening on Games. There's no news on GameStop, and it's at the it's at the 50 period moving average and resistance on the daily. It is what it is. Like, if you show me resistance like that and a wick top, there is your wick top. That is a textbook. Every single time I see a setup like that, unless I'm going against powerful news, of which there is none. GME, I think you can get back into VWAP here, 14.6. But you were just saying like the market's coming back a little bit. I mean, there's a bit of a dip. AMD 50 cents, Intel 5 cents, the NASDAQ 10 points. Like this is a wild, wild market. Nvidia, I know we're going back to the desk at some point. Nvidia is still above 820. Wow. Even though it just dipped, like it just dipped a couple bucks and then snapped back to the upside. Like it was down at like 819, was underneath 20 bucks for about, I don't know, 5 seconds or so, snap right back to 821. That's what's going on in this market. I think there will be a top and there will be some kind of a pullback this afternoon because it's a Friday. But the way that just got bought up Nvidia, the second was under 820 bucks, the buyers came right back into it. I still think it's a little bit top heavy, but I got out of my longs way too early, thinking the top was in.
All right, let's talk about what we were, wow, that's a weird shot. Let's talk about what we were discussing in the pre-market this morning, if you were with us. Microsoft was top of the list. I mean, we sat here and said this is not going to affect Microsoft whatsoever, but kind of an interesting story in the sense that Elon Musk filed this lawsuit against OpenAI, and specifically OpenAI and Sam Altman for shifting the business practice to a for-profit from a non-profit, in which he co-founded way back in 2015.
Yeah, Brendo, he's not happy. And basically, he's trying to compel OpenAI to adhere to the founding agreement and return its mission to developing AGI for the benefit of humanity and not for profit. We've all seen Sam Altman and the recent headlines with respect to how much money he's trying to raise. There was a number floated around $5 to $7 trillion. Obviously, you're not going to get that kind of money unless you have some profitability plan, Brendo. So,
meanwhile, day highs here, guys, for Softy. We were just looking at it.
I didn't even look at Microsoft today, man. I was just looking. Are we going to get to? We're going to look at AMD in a minute. Okay, we'll look at Softy in just a second. We don't have Fisker on there, but I just want to tell everybody we nailed this Fisker trade, man. We were short 44 cents, and then got out at pretty much the bottom of the day. We got out of everything, and then we were able to get the rest out at 40 when we broke higher. So taking about 18 to 19%, and the least we took there was 10%. So we're trading small cap, big caps, all of that. We had AMC yesterday, which was a big winner for us. That was a $4 name. And well, I mean, it's lower than that, but after all the splits. And then today, a 40-cent name with Fisker. And then we switch it over and have almost $7 here on Meta. So have many different styles of trading and be confident in them all. That's the most important. The one thing here, though, is Microsoft. Yeah, didn't trade it today. It has a lot more room to go, man. This is we talked about what's going to be the next ones to break to the upside. Meta is doing it today, so that's off. AMD did it yesterday. Nvidia is doing it every day. So then I think it's Microsoft taking this 420. So what we talked about liking what 416?
Well, 16 I wanted to break.
Yeah, so it's not there yet. So
the high's what is that? 15.5?
It's right here right now. Yeah, so 15.5. So we're here right now. Break. Could still break 16, but I like Microsoft. This barcode is interesting there, you know. But other than that, I mean, yeah, good name. Still up $3. You could have you should have, if you're trading it, probably a $2 or $3 winner because you know this was a level there. And again, another breakout that happened there. You could have taken that break right there, man. 413.50. I don't know. Breakouts weren't super hot this morning, but you know some of them in this continuation of the NASDAQ up 1.5%.
Yeah, 2%.
I mean, yeah. Let's keep going up.
Yeah, maybe there's still that break on Microsoft. I wrote it off. I actually thought that after the morning that we would have no chance at Microsoft taking out that 16 top. But Tesla, I had a short on Tesla at this consolidation level, which is now hard to see because I logged out and back in the middle of the day to update my version. But 201 got taken out. Then look at the ramp shot. The best you can do is get out of the way when it starts going to the upside. But I'm actually liking this little dip. Look at the consolidation right here at about 1 o'clock, and this dip into 203 looks pretty good because I'm liking dip buys, and not a lot of things have given you good ones. I'm in Palantir, and I reloaded Fisker. Just one quick note here on Fisker. It did come right back into the morning high, topped out right at 46, popped into 45. I shorted that 45, and I'm going to be getting 42 is now turning into support again, so I'm going to try and get some out again in front of VWAP, and if it breaks VWAP, you know, Fisker at least and down 41%. But hey, it's been going higher for anyone that might own this one in the long term. It's been bouncing off the lows at least, but yeah, going concern issues for them. I do like Tesla for this dip buy off the 03 level if we can grab it.
And we just took, just to give you guys an update, we just take another piece out here on AMD. Pretty high up there. It's out at 202, 201.90 there, out on AMD for $2. So we're sitting in $2 winner with AMD and a $6 banger here with Meta. Back over to the desk.
Semis, as we saw there, very, very strong once again today as well, depending on what you're looking at. Still plenty of day left to go here, too, which is impressive considering we are already approaching 2%. So it was AMD we were talking about in the pre-market. If you're with us this morning, gapping up again after just an absolute march higher yesterday.
Yeah, and I don't know, I don't have proof of this, but I think this was very much precipitated by the Dell earnings when they gave the data point here, guys. $2.9 billion in back orders for AI servers from Nvidia. From Dell. Compare that to last year on the quarter, $1.6 billion. In the year before that, it was about $800 million. And then he came out, and the CEO of Dell came out and basically said they're getting more chips from Nvidia, but not enough to keep supply. So now they're looking to AMD as well.
It seems to be endless amounts of supply at this point. I still think the argument around this is going to be on the build-out side.
Yeah.
And what happens when everyone builds out what they need, and then the next year comes and they're done building out?
Well, that's the thing. So it's like almost like Apple's iPhones, Brendo. They're saying they're going to deploy all these devices, and then they're going to use the services side to actually service and generate income from there. So I'll have to wait and see if they can do it.
Yeah, good point. 202, I guess, coming into play right now, guys, for AMD.
We get to that. I'm just going to say that seller on Palantir at 25. Shout out to everyone that was mentioning that iceberg order at the 25 level because that just hit 24.80. There's not a lot of things that are weak right now. But whomever was doing the selling at Palantir 25, it's working out. I don't know if it gets to the low of the day. The market seems like it's way too strong to be dragging Palantir to the low of the day, but you absolutely never know. AMD, look, I knew it was going to be a crowded trade. I knew it was going to be involved in the early 200 break. It's just one you're going to have. The way I like to think about that is it didn't work, but I was willing to risk. It wasn't quite a full dollar. My stop was about 70, 80 cents to the pre-market high, but it's similar to that big breakout a couple of months ago on Nvidia on the even dollar that everyone and their mother was in that same break, and it was a clean move. So when you get chances like that at big levels, you generally are going to want to take them, and then everything else is a separate kind of trade. Like there were some dip buys that were successful, but I'm hitting that break for more than I'm hitting like the regular trades because that 200 break the first time, if it goes, you kind of feel like it could be 05s and 10s if it gets really explosive. AMD continues to churn higher. I'll agree with the sentiment that it could have had something to do with Dell, but remember, ever since NVIDIA earnings, AMD's been accelerating, and it broke out this channel yesterday. So it feels like a continuation. It wasn't a super long consolidation, but that was from the middle of January to yesterday, so about a month and change. It consolidated in that tight range and broke it out yesterday. So, AMD is exploding to the upside right now. Oh, and I did get that dip buy in Tesla as well off 203.
All right, yeah. We've liked AMD. We're still long. We just got out right there. Some piece out at 202. I was debating. I mean, there's the long. It's on a sticky note for 200 break. We had it early. It was a mess, but it's great late. Nvidia was going to be next on my radar here. You're just Wix right there. I'll edit this out, but I don't mind going short against that top. That's 8. I was just going to go short against 822. That actual top is 823. Yeah, we'll try it for about $1. I'm sitting here I'm at 822, so we're gonna give it to 823. So if it breaks 823, then we'll get out. So that is what we're trying to do right now. So that's what we're looking at right here with Nvidia. I will short this top in and around 822 and give it $1. So I'm gonna try to see if this one wants to pull back a little bit. We already made some shorts in here already. Was decent until we eventually broke. We missed that $5 move down. Let's see if we can get it again. 822 short Nvidia if it comes through.
Yeah, I know. It's not funny.
Yeah, let's talk Apple. You were just saying 180s inbound here in a hurry. This is setting up to be quite a wick on a daily chart. After we start the day at 180, go all the way down to 176, and now we're right back to 180 again. So whether it will close above or below remains to be seen. I guess that's about it.
Yeah, we're kind of having a little bit of a bet on the show whether it would close above 180 or not. Definitely far below that on its low, Brendo. But look, they removed it from the U.S. conviction list here, but they still like it in some respects. They're basically saying the installed base of growth that's already there and monetizable is attractive to them. However, they do see some cyclical headwinds. As a result, they took it off their list. But 27 of 42 guys, brokerages have this as a buy, and 13 as a hold.
There goes 180. 232 on the price target from Goldman too as well. So they still think it's $50 higher.
That's sort of the thing about these lists and conviction that and my A+. It kind of feels like this is my pick of the weekend on NCAA football. Like, I don't know, like you just kind of give a name to it. They clearly still like Apple if you think it's going to 220. So I think it's probably a little bit overblown, but is what it is. Apple, it was a good short early. Now it's like this stock is strong. If it gets to 181 again, I suppose, or 180 half, maybe there's a bit of a curl. The fact that this could close above 180 is a bit surprising because for the majority of the day, this was the one to the downside. This was the Mag 7 name to the downside. There's a bunch of other crappy names that have been down today, but not Apple anymore. It has a chance to go green, and if we're going to get to 2% on the NASDAQ and the ES wants to push over 1%, probably would help if Apple gets above that 180.5 and breaks out the 181. Until it's above that 180.5, I don't think I want to chase this one to the long side. It's got some overhead resistance here, and it is the afternoon on a Friday. I feel like on a Friday, there's a bit of gravity toward these optionable prices. So I think you could hang around this 180 for a little bit here on Apple.
All right, Apple's going to be the second biggest name around here. So it's multiple dollar club winner today for Apple. So we took $2 on it. It's one of the top names again on the sticky note. We only have 3 or 4 names on here. The Dell long at 115. We could talk about that. The Fisker short at 44 cents was a 20% winner. AMD long at 202 is at $2 in the money now, was rough early. And then the Apple 181 short. So we actually were willing to take more shares, but it just came into 50, so we started it. We should have taken more there. That was the only problem, is not getting more. When it fell back in, we start taking, 40, 50 cents. Then it comes down to the 50 period. We're always going to take that. That was 75 cents. And then right down there is 178. So it's a good trade, man. That's again, 250 we took on it, and we left it alone. I still think it's a short and should have probably just shorted it right there, but didn't. So, yeah. All these wicks, man. I'll try to figure it out. I did download the new software, so hopefully we'll be able to get rid of some of those. But Meta, just quickly here, we've been watching this just sort of ride it all the way up, and we first put our stop down here. Now we can change it. It's 503.25 or so is where we're going to look at now, right? So we got to, part of it is being greedy, and obviously part of trading is getting these big winners, And we have it. So I'm not going to let this continuously go up without putting somewhat aggressive stops. It's really taken this 50 period the whole way. So, you know, we try to follow some of our lessons here. Get out, get out, get out at previous highs right there. I think we were still on, yeah, we must have just yelled at Sharif or Adair when we were doing this. But right there, and then boom, back out to the upside. So, you know, wish we would have held it all, but the one thing that you can all do is go over to, and I don't have it loaded up yet, but more Trader TV Live. Oh yeah, and by the way, thank you, Fabian. We do have a podcast tonight. It's going to be another good one. More Trader TV Live. I'll get that in a second, but it's a website where you can track all of our trades. So, all right, let's go back over to the desk and we'll get that for you.
All right, we're good. Let's talk Dell here. We'll revisit what we were discussing in the pre-market this morning. If you're with us, huge earnings report after the close yesterday. They talked about AI in a pretty big way. Gets all the way up to 130 before reversal this morning. We're basically right back to the middle of the range, but still 30% for Dell today.
Unbelievable. Yeah, guys. Big move up for the legacy PC maker, despite the fact that their revenue declined 11% year over year on the quarter. That didn't matter because they cited AI. But we already gave you that information. Let me give you some more information with respect to PC demand. So they're basically saying that the cycle is going to start up again as some of the COVID era PCs are dated and may need replacing. So looking for more upside here, not just AI, Brendo, but PC sales.
Yeah, if you zoom out even on a daily chart, still super strong, as we were saying, with a monster gap now as well, guys, for Dell.
Yeah, before we get to Dell, you'll see I'm now out of GameStop. It pulled right into VWAP and bounced off VWAP. It's actually going back higher, which is, I mean, a little bit surprising to me because there is still no news on this thing. Just take the profit and run, because if there's really something going on here, which I still haven't seen, if it takes out this top again after holding VWAP, that's pretty bullish, and you could be above the 50 period on GameStop. Interesting consolidation on GameStop. Hasn't been a good squeeze in this in a while. If it gets through the 15 a second time, you have a chance. Dell, I did trade it. Hopefully the wicks are going to cooperate with me here. Okay, it's not that. Yeah, there we go. Hey, this one's working. So Dell got above VWAP, and I had this consolidative long here off of 121. The market was absolutely flying, and this made one stair step up, and the market could not be stopped. I'm like, okay, this is not going anywhere after it broke. I was in this thing after it broke for about 20 minutes, and it couldn't even take the next step up. So I'm like, if it breaks back down again, I'm just going to get out. My mantra was like, it's not going anywhere. I should be in something else. And I moved over to like Intel and other stuff. But of course, after you get out, then Dell starts going again and actually tagged the 123. But it seems like it's falling asleep, and there's going to be some chip names that are worth watching a little bit more. So good day for Dell. I feel like if you were trying to trade it, you were either fading at 930 or for some reason buying 17s. I think I liked 15s this morning, but I guess that came pretty close. But no cigar for the dip buy on Dell today. Congratulations if you own this sucker. 29% to the upside. Don't sleep on day 2, day 3 next week, because that's quite a move this thing has put in.
Look, if you're not watching the market recap show where traders stay late, then you would have missed Dell today for sure. And Danielle yesterday, we actually talked about it right here, and I tweeted it out this morning. Here's that Dell 115 long. We talked about that. Should have taken it. You know, the same way I was saying we should have had that Tesla short, you should have had this long. It comes right in, and we actually talked about it as it was happening. And I was like, oh, there it is, 216, and we were just in other things. Doesn't matter, man. From now on, and I'm already getting like razzed because we've loved Amazon above 175, and now it's at 179, and we're not long. But that came into 116 something. So that was a great long there. We just sort of picked it out of the air, 115. Could have taken the 116 and held it $1 against you, but we didn't. So Dell continues to work. And shout out to Miss Danielle Shea, because like she said, if we get an outsized earnings report, which it was. We talked about it live as it was right into here, 110. We were like, it's going higher tomorrow, and that's exactly what happened. So shout out to Miss Shea. And by the way, just because the camera ain't on me, don't mean we don't stop. Look at Nvidia right here, $1 right now in the money. So we talked about that. We'll go Dollar Club here. We're not going to take it, but it's $1. what is up with these wicks, by the way, honestly?
It's a new feature in the new version.
It is a new feature. Yeah, it's a good one. But that Nvidia trade, watch out for it. We're not fully in. We're going to wait for some more. But there's $1. Oh yeah, and by the way, here's the out on Meta. As we discussed it, breaking the 50-period moving average, saving ourselves $1.50. So there it is, man. Like, we got out at 503.23, right? Or no, sorry, 18s. So that just ticked down to 501.90. So that right there is like making money back. We're not going to buy it back right now, but anyways, pretty happy with that out. It seemed like it was working right there. So I'm going to figure out some more of these wick issues here on the charts.
All right, Tesla trying to hold here at 203, I guess, 204 was the high early on this morning. 0.75 still to the upside. Wasn't much on Tesla this morning. There was a couple of price changes they made again with Model Y. There was also some incentives coming through from Elon. I mean, more interesting, I guess, is this Sam Altman thing, but not going to affect the stock.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to wait and see how that drama pans out between Sam and Elon. But with respect to the headline today with Tesla, it looks like they are going to offer some subsidies to some Chinese customers who buy some of their new vehicles in the form of insurance subsidies. So that looks awfully promising. I wish we had that in North America, Brendo. But with respect to the actual trade, shout out to the Katina man for pointing out that 205 high. Adair and I were looking at that at the midday, 198 to the downside, 205 to the top side. It's been 4 days within that range.
What's NVIDIA at? I just saw somebody posted a list of the market cap leaders again. NVIDIA officially number 3 at 820.99. It's bigger than Saudi Aramco. Sean and I were talking about that on the podcast a couple of weeks ago. But officially number 3 now for NVIDIA.
Yeah, and it continues to run. We'll see what happens. It's been a great earnings season, but I feel like there's a couple of things that still have to come around, and I feel as if like de facto ARM's lockup should be interesting in a couple of weeks. But we're talking about Tesla price increase. This was what we were showing in the morning show, the 205 and the 198 bottom. It'd be great if you could get a 184 fill on Tesla. You'd be laughing if you could have that. It dipped into the 198. I just bought this higher low dip, so okay, you end up missing out the reversal here. What are you gonna do? But this afternoon, it dipped off the 204 half into 203. So just grab that. It's trying to break out the half on the way to 20. I thought I had a 204.20 in there. Okay, I do now. If it gets back to that top, respect that high. I don't know why my line is at 205.30 because I was probably pretty lazy when I put it in, or something happened when I logged out. But that should be at the 205 level because that is the big resistance on Tesla. So there you go. I'm out. If it gets back to the previous high, I'm going to get out of this long trade. The good news for Tesla, because hey, we should always talk about the higher time frame. Since making that last push down, it did not retest the trend low for the last year, and it's putting in some higher lows going into the 50-period moving average at 210. If this breaks 210, then it will have broken the 50-period without touching the trend bottom. I guess if I go back, okay, there you go. This trend bottom that Tesla's been on. It's been lower highs and lower lows since June of last year for Tesla, trying to get off the schneid and break out here. Got to get through 210, but it's a nice start today.
It's just so crazy that, yeah, we have Tesla rating at 205 short, so we just weren't sitting here. It should be $2 in the money. We don't have it, so whatever. We'll talk about that later. It's crazy to be long AMD and short Nvidia right now. So we're long AMD, which is all groovy, man. We're at the day's high. We're up again. The number one idea was a breakthrough 200. Was really sloppy early, but we stuck with it, and there it is. It's a nice one there. And then Nvidia as well, again, on these ridiculous wicks. Short coming through here on Nvidia. So let's just figure out what happens right now. 821.66 or so is where we're short, I think, 821.75. We're trying to give this to that 823 high break just to see if we do pull back a little bit here today. It's not looking like we're going to. The one trade that we've gotten out of was Meta long.
Hey, what happened to
and we'll see if that goes through. I'm almost thinking about breaking long again if it does come back up through 503 and change right now. The only other position we had Fisker short. We already rocked that one. That's it, man. We didn't have any other trade ideas. Palantir we were on real early, and it was good and bad at the same time, and ultimately bad because we broke that bottom. But again, nice break of the 52-week high of 25.50. We really hit that up to 70 before eventually it came back in. It was this trade here, averaged in at 35 or new position maybe there. That was at the pre-market lows, but then it just kept on going. Obviously, these were lows, so we went buys again right there. Then it broke, so we got out, punched back in, punched back in. End of the day, too many breaks to the downside for us on Palantir, but what a great opportunity that was at 25 bucks. So I know Neil's somewhat short there. So that's a good one. And then we'll wait to see about a bottom 24.60, but I don't know. I'm just short Nvidia. Like I'm going to be holding on to AMD the whole time. I want to get more short Nvidia, so maybe we'll put another piece in around here and then just wait for that top. But for right now, this is all that I have on, and I think we'll see about VWAP. I see someone talking about Meta. We'll look to see if we can get back in Meta at some point.
Yeah, the market still looks strong. I'm out of like 85% of that Palantir. I mean, if you're short at 98 and 99 in front of a 25 level, like a good portion of it's a scalp trade to me almost every single time. Like it just, I'm taking shares out in the 90s and on the way in the 80s. But I just noticed I had one trade on ARM looking for a VWAP breakdown, and this just happened on ARM, and it broke under VWAP and came right back in again. I'm going to try and get back into this. It's actually flat on the day into an obviously strong market. So when I see that, taking my shot, 142 was resistance yesterday, and now it's failing back underneath it. Going to go for that shot in the arm to the downside as we go back to the desk. Sharif.
Hey guys, yes, next week on How to Trade, Adair and I are going to be talking about short selling strategies all week. On Monday, we're going to be talking about selling a pullback in a downtrend, Brendo. So it'll be very exciting.
Selling the pullback in a downtrend. And that's one of those, the trend is your friend, although I kind of feel like selling a pullback in a downtrend, you're not going to have many examples of that in this market today because it's pretty much the opposite. The best thing about it, and this is for everyone paying attention next week when they talk about short selling, all of the things that you would apply technically to playing a trend in one direction kind of work in the other way as well. Like the same way that you would short pops, it's the same, like shorting pops as a strategy on a weak stock is very similar to buying dips. Fundamentally, you're talking about the same thing. I just want to note Fisker is finding a bid at 41. I'm looking for the low of the day here, but I will acknowledge that it's trying to fail VWAP right now. And if it bounces off the 41, 42 was a key price before. If it can hold on to 42, I'll get out. So we're long in some Tesla, and I'm trying to, ARM isn't really filling me on the offer. We'll see what happens there. But it is worth watching what's going on in some of these chip names. And I know we've talked about AMD, Nvidia, obviously, some Intel. Micron's up 6%, literally chilling at its high of the day. Broadcom, I know this was mentioned at the $1,400 level, chilling out, going sideways at the end of the day. It does feel like things are starting to get a little bit top heavy. As a matter of fact, Intel, failed a double top in there. This looks like, okay, 44.20 looks like a short on Intel. If I can't get ARM, this looks a little bit interesting, but there's a lot of very tight consolidation, lower highs going on in chip land. And whether it's AVGO, Micron, now Intel actually already starting to go. I think we're getting a bit of a curl here. I'm short Fisker, which doesn't matter, and Palantir was dropping regardless, but I want to get one of these chip names back in. TC saying SoFi short. No, I don't want SoFi to go down.
We are now, again, on a reload, by the way. Here it is. There's the NVIDIA short, 821. This is more Trader TV Live. Go find it out. Hit the like button and all that jazz as well as I'll hit it for us right now as we go back into more Trader TV Live. And we went back into more NVIDIA there. But it just cranked in again and bounced again. Honestly, these wicks are going to have, so I'm going to have to do something. I keep editing them and they're just coming back. So 820, so I'm going to have to go back to another version after this. But there goes Nvidia, just made a move back in. I'll have to get rid of this one as well. We just bounced off 820 again. So I just want everyone to understand that, like, if you're in this trade, this is a slippery slope. We don't necessarily want to be in all of these trades. I'm fine with it, but there it is right there. It just touched. I mean, that's why I wanted to show you this. We just touched the 50 period at 820.80. So that's $1 for what we have. So we'll wait to see if it comes back in even more. I'm thinking that we could curl pretty decently. And just like we got out of our meta right here, like, I mean, let's go, man. Like, put it up for that. Like, that was a good idea there. I hope some of you guys took that.
Apple's curling 180.
Yeah, I still like the Apple short. We talked about that for sure. But AMD is looking like it wants to break out or break down as well. 201.70. Let's get out of AMD. My stop on this one was 199.70. You see what that is? 17 cents worth of risk to make $2. We'll take it. All right, 201.50. We're out of AMD.
So I'm getting into Apple right now, as a matter of fact. If I can get Micron off that top, I'm going to do it. But you're starting to see this market roll over. Underneath the 180 is a go zone for Apple, so I'm jumping into that one. We're back to the well because we were short this one most of the day today. Going to hang on to Tesla. If it holds 203, great, but I'm not reloading it up at these highs on the NASDAQ. This wick in there. But the local high here on Apple is underneath the morning high, just so you can see. Like, this wick obviously is not real. A good way to tell, hey, is that crazy wick on your chart real or not? Do you see a corresponding volume in order to take a stock up that much would be huge. So you can always tell by looking at the volume. So short with about 30 cents worth of risk on Apple. You got $1 till you get to VWAP. So I like the R&R here on the trade. For AAPL, Micron, maybe we get this. Short this consolidation at the top. I'm trying to get in front of the 96 level. Intel, very similar. Trying to get it short in front of 44.20. I'm sitting at 15s. Like to be able to get a good price on it. I don't want to be chasing this down. The market has been strong. So you want to get the right price. If you start chasing shorts and not get in front of the resistance level in a trending market up, it just means if it runs a stop, you're losing extra, and you don't need to do that. So trying to be at least a little bit reasonable with where we try to short these. You limit the hits you're going to take. If it curls and we get VWAP, great. But if it doesn't, I want to be relatively tight to this top and see if I can't risk 10 cents on Intel. 4L TAS. Netflix, 618.
Wow.
You know what?
I'm going to, but I don't want to look at my...
We haven't looked at Netflix in 2 weeks, maybe? If I pull it, I'm going to pull it up right now, but I don't think I've called this stock up live on the show. I know I haven't this week. And I think that more speaks to more what some of the chip names have been doing. Like, it's just, you can only look at so much. TSM this morning, I haven't even looked at TSM this afternoon. That was a rocket to the upside. Netflix breaking 600. That's what happens in a bull market, baby. Rising tide. And this is a good one, but breaking 600 today. Wow, good look for you, Netflix. Can't complain there.
Netflix. I didn't even get into Netflix until $100, 170 or whatever that bottom was there. That was Netflix and Facebook, which Meta have been such monsters. Obviously, Nvidia leads the way for the most part here, unless of course you're an Abercrombie and Finch.
Is that turned yet?
No, 130.50 right here for ANF. ANF actually. I was going to talk about this on the podcast, but we do have some very interesting things to talk about. But ANF reporting on March 6th. So next week here for Abercrombie, and then the thing about this too is it's a 12% short float. For something to be on people's radars, ANF reporting next week, March the 6th, coming to a retail mall near you, ANF, and their report. So, all right. So I'm still waiting for that. We could check back on Tesla. We don't have any trades on it yet today, but here's Tesla right there, 203. We left Nvidia alone. It's now $1. Oh, by the way, I just put a bid on Nvidia at 820.25. I see what you're saying there, Adrian, in the chat. It is very strong. So maybe a inaccurate thing to do would be to hold on to shorts here for Tesla. I'm so happy. Oh, by the way, Mark, my positions have been pretty hot fire, man. So good work on that one. They're actually accurate all day today. So that's good. All right. The other thing here was we did buy Disney at the bottom today as well. I did not get out of this. I was talking about doing some of that in my own account. Probably should have. Look at this Disney trade. It's another one, honestly.
Another one.
Like we bought this one at 111 down there today. 111.10. My best out is I thought I was doing pretty cool getting out in front of VWAP right here at 50. We'll still take the 40-cent winner, but, you know, huge move to the upside. That could have been and should have been, but was not a Dollar Club member. Why did my AMD not come out? Okay, there it is. So now it comes out. Just breaking 50 now. Sorry, I thought it was breaking 70 was my out. But guess what's happening right now? We will jinx it because I don't care. There it is. It is now $1.50. We just took that out. So we push the button, we get filled. It's Nvidia. We're here to make some cash, and that's what that was right there on NVDA on that short. Like we had balls enough to stand in front of that, and we actually took it twice. So that's a pretty good one. Look at this out too on Meta to the downside, bouncing now off 501. But we saved ourselves right there $2 as well. So far so good. Let's just sit back and see how much further down Nvidia can go. We're obviously out of half.
Market's starting to come back in. Tesla, first half, we got to bump up, but we're going to take it out when it can't hold 03s, man. Got to respect the level. Decent bounce up, couldn't get through 04s. You could see VWAP if things got crazy, but I'd like to see if we can't find something else. We jumped into Apple. That's starting to work its way back into the downside. I just got rid of you, Wick. Palantir is bouncing up. Look, I like the reload in Palantir, and I don't know if it gets all the way to 25 again. I would suspect if it barcodes like this at 25, if the market's going down, I don't think you see 25 again. That would seem a little bit unlikely to me. So I'm looking at this 90 level. If it comes back in at 90, I'm going to go for the reload on Palantir. So it's bounced off 75. We'll see if we can't ride this to the downside. I wanted to mention one other name when I was talking about Netflix. Uber with, so before the market pulled back, Uber kind of did this, breaking to what was another 52-week high. Well, okay, approaching the 52-week high up at 81.70-ish. Got really close to 81.5, and then complete rejection. Uber is looking weak. This is before the market turned.
Oh.
This was already starting to give it up. So I'm going to like the short on Uber into 81 here. Just a relatively
81?
Well, look, it broke. It got all the way to the 81.5, which was
wow.
a 52-week high. And then before the market turned, it put a big move back in. So I think it's a little bit weak, rejecting a 52-week high break, which is great because it might set us up for that break next week. It's about 82, like 81.70, 81.50, but who cares? For now, I'm looking to short the pop in Uber. As long as it's under $81, I'm good to go with it. Like, there's so many names that you're like, oh man, it's so close to its 52-week high or all-time high that you're going to start to see some rejections of 52-week highs, rejection of an all-time high, which provides you with scalp trade opportunities. I just see one here in Uber in front of the 81 level.
Adrian, as long as you're watching the show every day, you don't have to worry about a damn thing. You know, we covered that trade, and that's for me, that's completely fine. You know, we still have half of it. I did agree with you that I thought there was some strength there. It's not like it's that much different. I would have been another $1 in the money, which I guess matters, but this is why we always say it, man. You know, everybody, Nikes. I updated the software thinking that it would stop my screen from flickering, but it's still flickering, so that's not great. And now we have more wicks to deal with. But all right, just quickly, Nvidia right here. If you're following me, what's up, Adrian, and everybody else out there? You've had a great afternoon because we had Meta, and I just should have, see, it just flickered again. Just shorted there, 503. Should have shorted it, but we got out of that long, so that was a good indicator right there. And then the short here in Nvidia, this could still blow up against us. I mean, I want to see about a sell-off here into the close. I mean, that's why literally, as my kids would say, you literally, Dad, did pretty good getting out here at the top of AMD 3 times. Normally, we don't have this. So we're definitely changing our gears up a little bit here on how we trade some of these big movers. I was saying that this is the best time pretty much in a long time to be trading, especially these high-flying moves right now. The office behind us.
I had this conversation with Brankles today.
Yeah, the office behind us, they're Brankles. I'm sure this is what you're getting at. I think their greatest month in a hell of a long time was last month, and most of it is all these momentum names.
Well, what was specific about it was basically every strategy. Well, it was actually a bit of everything. It was that every strategy that gets deployed, breakout trades, SSR bounces. I mean, they're variations of momentum trades, but I think they're specific. There's definitely specific things that they can be. Squeeze names were good if you traded a little bit of that. Like, it was just something for everybody. And so when people had setups, they were getting those wins. And the best part about it, and shout out to some of the boys back there, is controlling. Hey, the days when the Momo isn't there, then you don't hit it as hard, you limit the losses. I think that was fantastic. I saw a lot of discipline last month, making sure that you don't give away those big days. You have 1 or 2 big days in a month, don't give them away on day 3 if nothing doesn't set up. There isn't an Nvidia 500 break every single day. But the days are there, you gotta go hit them when you get a chance. This market, 1.5%. Look, we just had the first red candle on the NASDAQ on the 15 since 11:30, and the next one we're already getting a bit of a bounce. But I'm shorting in front of the 90 on Palantir, so I reloaded that position. We're shorting at 98s and 99s. Now we're shorting at 88s and maybe 89s. We'll see. But Palantir stair step down. Oddly enough, it's down 1% on the day, but I didn't show this. I was talking about things rejecting recent high breaks. Palantir is an example of that. Like, why is it a bit bearish today? Well, because it went absolutely haywire and just simply wicked its recent top. So you get some profit taking when levels like that reject. I suspect that's what happened with Uber as well. It tried to break out a fresh high, and when it doesn't do that, you get some selling because that's where people take profit. They're like, oh crap, the high didn't break, I'm long 16. You're getting 50% in checks, what is that, a month? Actually, no, it's less than a month because that's February 5th. And it's March 1st. So in less than a month, you got 16 to 26 or 25, and it failed that high break. So I think you get a little bit of bearish moves because of profit taking, not because the stock is weak.
I'm going to take an Uber break of 81 right now. So we're gonna do that. Break 81 on Uber. It's bouncing off the 200. I didn't even realize when I said today, I was like, what's $81? Like, I was actually. Again, so many missed opportunities every day, but I was going to buy more Uber down here at 75 bucks. It doesn't matter, it didn't hit it, but I was looking at this. It was like, I want to dip buy Nvidia. Remember we talked about this? I said at the beginning of the week, I was like, nah, I don't want to buy anything like Monday, Tuesday, but we want to dip buy Nvidia. Well, now that dip buy, if you didn't have it earlier, it's gone now. It's at all-time highs. And same thing with Uber. It's gone now too. Let's see if it, if we don't get filled, we don't get filled. But if it takes 81, then we do have about a 10 or 15 cent wiggle room back to the 50 period. So we'll see if that can hit for sure. All right, so that's that right now. Prenya, who is holding the trophy today in the office? Let me look. It is somebody I have never mentioned before. Shout out to, I believe his name is Jose. Jose with the trophy today in the office with my guy Yanni hovering.
Yannick's chilling.
He's chilling.
Yannick's chilling.
So we'll see. I'm going to come for both these guys. But congratulations to them, man. And that's what it's all about is, like I just said, I've already mentioned to Brankles and to Wayne, both managers over here at Real Trading, how much of a job and improvement this office has had in the last couple months. So I shout out to Max and Obi and some of those guys.
Take advantage of good markets, man.
And that's what I said. These are the best trading markets I've seen in a long time. So, all right.
And remember, February has historically been, I'd say February's typically been, the last 10 years, not a great month. August isn't usually a good month, and last year August was a great month in the market. Typically February's not good, and this year, all of a sudden it is. I think the environment, everything is different now with the way that you have options moving things around. You just get a little bit more volatility and a little more consistent action. You've had the crypto ETFs, which are taking off, and of course AI. So as long as this boom is here, you've got rate cycles mattering, you've got economic data mattering. There are years when nobody cares what the Fed is doing because it's a nothing burger all the time, and no one really cares when the economic data comes out. Now you've got a different story, and you gotta love it. Oh yeah, there was something else I wanted to look at. It was at GameStop. Not to say that the squeeze names are back, but GME I still no news on it, by the way. It just failed again underneath the $15 level. So I think this could go for another pullback into VWAP. Just a reminder, this is not just rejecting a random number. 15 has been resistance. since the beginning of the year, January 22nd. A couple of times it's wicked over, but it's generally failed that level multiple times. Having trouble pushing through. We already hit it once. We'll look to go for it again if it gives one more little wick back into this high.
All right. Yeah, I guess we won't catch anybody if we're just in chill mode, but we're going to still look for some opportunities here. It doesn't really matter if we catch anybody. All right, so 821.55. Nvidia's right back. So there you go, Adrian. You were saying, like, you know, relative strength in Nvidia, and I was like, don't worry about it. Everyone trade their own book. And
Fisker news.
Fisker news, okay. What is it?
I don't know, but it just spiked to the upside.
Boom.
I had literally 10% of it left with a stop at the high, and it just broke. So I know that's news because of the volume spike. I could see it on a dime. We'll see what it is in a second, but 46, 45 look like dip zones. I'm going to try and buy the dip here because if this is going squeeze to the upside, we'll see what just happened here on Fisker. I haven't seen anything on the wire just yet, but remember, they said going concern issues. Like the dip back into the previous high is already starting to work on Fisker. So we'll see what happens, but I don't see anything on the wire just yet. But that volume spike was the biggest one since the open.
Yep. That's, it's just news about Nissan. Nissan and Fisker partnership possibly.
Oh, that's...
So we'll take a little bit. We've already nailed this stock today. It's been a really good one, and we'll see. Fisker, we've already nailed today. I'm just going to put in a small piece here to see what's happening right now, but there it is right there. We nailed this today. We'll go long now and see what happens. So we're long now, Fisker. Here we go, baby. This is what it's all about. I told you, it doesn't really matter what style we're trading around here. You got to trade your own book. Look at this. We trade the major $500, $800, $900 names. We trade the 50-cent names today. And there it goes again, man. That's a good one. Thank you so much. Fabe, did you drop that, Fabian? I guess so. Good job, Fabian. Here we go. Nice little move back up to the upside. So like I keep saying, man, keep trading what you're doing. But there's a good little look there for Fisker. Long at 45 or whatever we're long at. Out some up there at 50. Now let's see what's going on with Fisker again. A very top stock here today. I think it's number 3.
I just took 3 trades in Fisker. I'm going to go for the 4th one. I had a 47 break, a 49 break, and we just grabbed a 49 on the way back in. 50 break that got to 52 as well. So let's see how far it can go. Speedboat, I'll get to your question in a second. But remember, the top on Fisker is 46 cents. That was the high that broke it out. So if it can hold a bit above that, I think it looks pretty good. But basically, that's Nissan news, Nissan Fisker. You knew this morning when it was down that much, everyone was talking about they have to come up with some kind of partnership and pennies on the dollar and all that good stuff. If this is going to be the truth, somebody has to like it, but it doesn't necessarily mean that there's a deal done, right? Like it's different between a deal done and a potential partnership.
Yeah, exactly. So there it is again, man. Let's just go. We'll spin the dollar club. Obviously, we didn't make $1. We made more than $1. But on Fisker, you just sit here and wait and see. So there it is, man. We're adding to the net here on Fisker, and we'll hold out now. We have about 20% left. Like I don't really want to. If it moons, it moons. We already have the top. So we have basically this breakout right there at 46, 51s, 49s, 50s. It's Fisker. It's going to be a big stock for us today here. So that's a good one. Let's go, Fisker. You can do it. That's for sure. Nicely done. Back up. There it is. Let's go. Come on. Nicely held. Back up to the upside. This is another 10%. We're 5 cents in the money and we're long at 45 cents. 10% more on Fisker today. Already the damage has been done to this name, but now let's see if we have sort of that moonshot right now on FSR. Let's go right now. We'll see if we can get back up to the top. And there it is, man. Like, remember we just said that. It's about the opportunities. This is what we're saying. This is an opportunity, came out of nowhere. So this is where you make money sitting here. If you like these kind of trades. Yeah, I mean, it's not for everybody.
53 now.
53. Normally I don't take it, but there it goes. Nicely done right here. It's another 10% now almost, 20% on Fisker, man. We're long at 46.
The other thing to keep in mind here, and I'm not saying this is going to happen, but it's not impossible that if there's speculation about some kind of a deal that you could get a halt based on news. So in the back of my mind, I'm going to keep that in vogue. This happened to me on Save 2 years ago, where there was speculation on a deal, and then before there was even a clarification, they halted it and got stuck overnight. But I just got to 54. I'm now out of the majority of it. If you're still watching some of the other names up there, Apple's still holding the 180. Palantir's close to VWAP. I want to make sure we get some more shares in front of that 25 even. And GME, that's right, GameStop, still falling. I actually canceled my offer on GameStop. I might get back into this one, but it's starting to slow down. When one squeeze name goes, sometimes the others start to slow down.
I'm just writing out here that I'm writing on Twitter that we wrote that we had a really nice trade short off the sticky note, right? And then now we take the long back in, and just the fact that, you know, this is why you got to stay sort of here, for example, and be able to trade some of these moves, right? And it's not like I said, it's not going to be for everybody, but it's nice on a sort of a chilled out Friday right now that we're able to do something like this and get some action. And chilled out, I mean, it's quite the day. There's so many things moving. Like I said, I feel like this has been a fantastic trading day here for us today. So I hope you guys are enjoying it. Let's look for some more opportunities. I wanted to look at Uber breaking through 81. If it comes in, oops, here, put this up here. If it comes in, great. I still like it. I still think we can play some momentum up 1.73%. I still am looking for Nvidia short, but I've kind of lowered my expectations here. We should be, I mean, I don't have the next opportunity. I was waiting at 422, but we might not get up there. Let me just, where am I short at right now? 55s, all right. We were short at 66 before. Let's see if we can get another offer up there. We could just short now. I mean, it doesn't really ultimately matter if we take 50s or 60s at this point. We're trying to hold out for even multiple dollars at one point here. So we'll take some positions here, see if it goes back up to the upside there, and take a little bit of a fill on a cross there and wait to see if we get something upside now. So there we go. Like, we just shorted this. You know, like we just shorted this at whatever price that was, 58s or whatever. And there it is, a nice move down into 1821 one more time. Fisker falling back in a little bit right here.
Yeah, and Pan W is trying to get above VWAP. I thought this might be a breakout candidate, maybe at like a 302 half, but it does not look like it. I just got Uber in the other direction. I liked it in front of that 81 level. Key price, it rejected before, so I want to give it just to the 81. I'll probably give it a couple of cents above it. I hate 01 stops, but I do like that level. It's a bit of a head and shoulders pattern there. If it takes it out, it's 11 cents worth of risk. I'm covering in front of 50 on the next bounce up in Fisker, because I feel like that's turning into a resistance level on FSLR. And again, it could easily halt. It's not something I would want to hold overnight if that were going to be the case. Micron, I'm on the offer of Micron. It's starting to creep back into the upside. I want 96s at 95.8. Could get that high of the day. Still looking for the highs to hold. That's going to be the case here. I like this top. It's kind of gliding into it, and it's 3 o'clock. So you get into power hour on a Friday. If we break out the highs in the market, fair enough. I can always cancel the order if I don't like the momentum in the market, but market's at highs and you're riding a lower high, and this cannot seem to break this 95.80. I want to get 95.80, 95.90 I think I'm sitting at on Micron. Comp SRX, shout out to you, brother. We'll see what happens. I know you're looking at some of these same low float runners, but I do wonder if Fisker, you're probably going to get some kind of a clarification on the statement. But in the back of my mind, they could easily halt this. And what you don't want to happen, I've moved a stop now to 44. What you don't want to happen is for someone to come out saying, yeah, there's nothing going on here. Because then the stock's probably right back underneath 40 cents.
Yeah, exactly. We're holding a small piece of Fisker, so. All right, we're going to watch out for this. So right here, I'm not even going to look at Fisker anymore. I don't care. What about Google? So we're going to have to watch out for Google now. Trying to break back. I'm looking at this VWAP here for Google and think that we may be able to hold it. Like I said already today, we have not traded Google. I was about to say we traded it earlier, but we didn't. Ugh. Again, that wick. All right, so nice little move down in. What is that, 05? So I'm trying to get long right now on Google, but I was waiting for these prices. So I think we got to wait then, not just wick down to 08. Maybe we'll put a bid down there, but this is a long that I am looking for if we ever do come back in. And here comes Uber. So here we go, man. We're almost at that 81. I like it for a break long. Let's see what happens here as Uber's starting to go back up to the upside right now. And let's just see what happens as Uber's now at 81. And we'll see if it can get going back up there to the long side of this trade with a 50-period moving average right there at 80s for Uber. So I think like this one might be worth it. 80 there. We'll see if it breaks. It might not break. So that's the trade that I'm waiting for. Then we'll wait for Google as well. But at 80 is fine. 20 cents worth of risk, so we're sized accordingly. We'll see if that comes through. So right now, Fisker on whatever, a prayer, and Nvidia we'll see if it does anything. But right now it's sleeping, to say the least. So we did get a little bit of that short there. I don't know.
The market's kind of chilling out here. I thought Pan W. I know. Look, I see you comp SRX mentioning that Pan W and some of these other ones going. It's all green. I like it over VWAP, but the volume is. I mean, the volume everywhere is pretty low, and it's at resistance. It needs to punch through resistance, or maybe give you like a little bit of a dip to get a good price on it. And as I was just sort of saying, like Uber, I'm going to get some targets out there. If it pulls back into VWAP, that'd be great. You know, I'm giving it 281 and a couple of pennies, so you're risking 15 cents at most on that trade. Well, I am risking 15 cents or most. I should only speak in the first person. But if it gets down to 80 and a half, I should be happy with that trade. Fisker just gave up the 44 level, so we'll get out of that. Maybe a 40-cent bounce, because that was support before. But the volume is still pretty good. And the move started at 41 cents or 40 and a half. So I would think it's got some room back in there. So I got my take profit on Uber. We're still, what's Apple doing? I mean, Apple's out of the money 4 cents. That's really not moving at all. Wow, okay. I mean, Apple's just going sideways at that 180 level. And sometimes that happens. 180 on a Friday, there's some gravity toward that level on Apple, it seems. It just does not want to trade that far away from it. Let's load it up. Probably still have that wick there. Yeah, like look at it. It came down in the money about, okay, it went about like 12 cents in the money, 13 cents, and then right back up, went about 8 cents out of the money. Like it's just going sideways here on Apple. You're not breaking higher, you're not breaking lower, so all you got to do is wait. There's really not much else to do here. We're in the short off the high. It's a matter of it has to pick a direction now.
Yeah, Nvidia went $1 in the money again, but right back up. Well, not right back up. There's that. See this? It breaks and then it comes down, and it's 820.50 it stopped at. So it's kind of like, look at all these wicks. Like it wants to break, but then someone just keeps on buying it until they didn't. So that's what I'm waiting for, is until they didn't and until they don't. So that's what I'm waiting for. Then we have a drop down. Where I have my bid, 816, right here on Nvidia. That's my target. Let's see if we hit it. Be nice if we did.
Akiko Studio.
End of the day. What's up, Akiko?
Nvidia 580. You were a buyer at 580 bucks.
I could see this thing dropping. I mean, we'll save it for the podcast, but I think this thing could drop 30%.
There was the level that I'm looking at here. Oh, where's my weekly chart for Nvidia? There we go.
There's
if you look
Nvidia.
at like the $450, first of all, it's a 50 period on the weekly, but it's simply this first breakout from the 500 level. It got to about 550 bucks. Like the 550 to the 600 level is pretty reasonable. You're not even like you'd still be past that consolidation level on the weekly, let alone the daily. Where's my picture? Oh, there it is. The picture in picture. So you can go from then. If you look at them, and then you look at a monthly chart of this thing, and it's sort of like it gives you the perspective, like a double up that quickly, pull back into 600. Doesn't even seem that ridiculous when you put up those higher time frame charts. I'd be a buyer in front of 600 again, but you know, we're not talking about that. Right now you're at 800 bucks, so we'll worry about that. Cross that bridge when we get there. Okay, Apple's now starting to come back into the downside. I got a bid in front of 179.50. That was yesterday's bottom. That's the only reason I have a line there. That is yesterday's low. So if it bounces off of that, maybe it's found some support again at the 179.5.
Yeah, we should have jumped in that Apple trade. Well, actually, it's not even really. Yeah, you're just in it now. Yeah, okay. I mean, I could support this breakdown on Apple. I mean, right now, we're just $2 in the money right now, so we'll slap it up on Nvidia. This is what I mean about trading names into the end of the day. You know, I feel like there's a potential for this name to fall down. We've already... Again, hopefully you guys are taking some of these trades, man, that we've had on board so far, because it's been a really good afternoon so far. We've made back a heck of a lot of that damage that we already put on earlier on. You know what the thing about it is? I wish we were in that Tesla short. I kind of said to Sharif there, wow, Nvidia's really falling, man. Now we're 250 in the money. I might have to go get some more. Wow, okay, I might have to go get some more Hydration Nation. We're bidding right now. What's up, Patrick? We're bidding right now, Patrick the Hamburger King. Patrick saw on Instagram.
Cheeseburger Eddie.
this crazy, crazy deal. He had 2 cheeseburgers, fries, and a bottle of water for $10 or something. So he ran out and got them for everybody. And yeah, the floor had he brought in this big, huge box of burgers and fries. Shout out to Ramin and Fabian. Get that camera going. I want to see some thumbs up or thumbs down on how those burgers were. Okay, there you go, thumbs up.
Of course, thumbs up.
So there it is right there.
Everyone was raving about them.
Yeah, man, so here it is. We are now $2 in the money, and the party don't stop over here one more time. So you can come to the club with you and a date because you just put in $2 on your account. So there it is. I'm gonna go hydrate some more, and hopefully when I come back, maybe we're $3 or $4 in the money, or we may be stopped out. Nobody ever knows what's going to happen. This is mother market.
Anything can happen in these names, like mother market.
Mother market.
In this pullback,
and I love it.
The NASDAQ is essentially gone 50 points, like this same range. We had a dip into this price. Let me put the water down for a second. We had a dip back, and I'll zoom in so you guys can see because the market was so ridiculous today. Right back into 18.334. So 18.37 to 18.34. So when it gets down to the bottom, you want to take a little bit of profit. And if it bounces back up, we're just consolidating off of this top going into power hour when it comes to the NASDAQ overall. So respect the range and make sure that you're taking profit on some of those shorts and even your longs as well. David Kyle, Roblox is up. Haven't looked at it today.
Get prepared for the podcast.
$41. Oh yeah, Roblox is up today. It's in the middle of nowhere right now, so I'm not a huge fan of trading in the middle of that ether. Just I like the trend, 3%. That looks good. The other thing I always try to concern myself with is make sure you zoom out. First thing I always do if I pull up a stock that I haven't looked in a while is get the bigger picture. Michael Noss was on this morning and talked about that. Do your diligence, but when you have not looked at something or in a while or that day, get an idea of where it's been and what the overall sense of the stock is. So, a bit of a dip on the daily chart that just found a bottom starting today on a higher low. So I like that. That 40 level looks like it's pretty good. Probably worth a watch next week at that $40 level on Roblox. I don't necessarily see a trade there for myself this afternoon, so I'm going to stay away from that. You want things that are like why the interest in Uber pressing into highs, so whether you like it breaking into that high or myself shorting it off of a lower high, I got a reason to be in that one. Little bit of extra activity in Uber today, so I would expect you're going to have some more juice going into the close on this name. It being a Friday, it's also the first day of the month. Do not forget what happened at the close in yesterday's trade. Yesterday, it was MSCI rebalancing, and you had millions on the imbalance of multiple names. Apple had this crazy move up and down, back and forth. You saw Sean trading that, it was just throwing it around. Amazon was also a big imbalance. What can happen after the fact is you might see the following day, not to say you'll get numbers as big as yesterday, you're not going to, but you might see some decent sized numbers that will be sort of outsized compared to a normal day on the first of a month. So I'm anticipating a little bit of that. If I'm holding something in the money, I'm going to give it a little bit of extra juice just to get a continuation. So on the bid here of both my shorts and Palantir as well. Like remember we reloaded some Palantir. That's trying to work back in. So we shorted the lower high on Palantir, first at 25 level. And as a day trader, there's things like gimmicky trades. Sometimes I don't like the word gimmick trade, but let's be real. When you're a day trader, shorting 99 in front of an even level that does that, it's a bit of a gimmicky trade because it's not something that the average sort of retail trader is going to want to do. But when you're a day trader and have the opportunity for direct market access, you're going to want to do that because the risk to reward is fantastic at a level like that. You don't get too many opportunities. You're going to scalp some of it out on the way down when it presses because generally speaking, when you're risking 1 cent, 2 cents on a level like that, you're going to change the risk parameter. So the market may be green, but we're able to find a few shorts to the downside. Uber's starting to work. We got the fill on Apple. We just grabbed the fill on Palantir. And just trade within that range. If you're risking 10 cents, on a trade, then I'm taking 10 cents on that first look. I want to get some at 1-to-1. Make sure the winners are relative to your losers. That's how February was a good month. Don't let one trade blow you up, but also be able to take your profit where it makes sense to. So if you never bank profits relative to your wins at good relative prices compared to your wins, then there's no way you're going to ever be green. Let's go back to the desk. We've got Adara.
Just an update on that Fisker Nissan situation, FSR. Reuters reporting here from citing some sources
Amazon,
that
yeah.
there is
China
Nissan and
doesn't-
Fisker are in,
Yeah, they want the cheaper stuff like Temu.
but it hasn't been finalized. There's also a whole list of potential terms, which could include Nissan investing more than $400 million in Fisker's truck platform, Nissan building an Alaska electric pickup truck for Fisker starting in 2026 at Nissan's plant, and also potentially Nissan building its own electric pickup on the Fisker platform. So lots of speculation here from these sources as reported by Reuters. Just an update here on what's going on with FSR, guys.
Reminded me that I hadn't looked back at GameStop there. Okay, it doesn't matter. GameStop, yeah, no need. The short's probably done in GameStop. Failed 95, so that $15 level, I don't think we get. If we get another shot at it, then at this point it's put in a higher low. I think the second fade has already happened. So I'm gonna, not to stick a fork in the trade, but stick a fork in shorting it at least on GME. That's kind of unfortunate. Should have probably had that one, but that was right when Fisker started going nuts. I mean, what are you going to do? And I was in a small portion of that Fisker trade. That's the only reason I knew. The volume spike was ridiculous. But I might have missed an opportunity over there in GameStop. Palantir comes back, I'll probably reload that one. Just if it's going to be range bound, then let's just play the range on Palantir. It's trying to bounce off of 80. Oh, never mind. It just popped up a couple cents. I thought it might come back into those 90s, but it's right back at 81.
Okay, next week on the Market Recap Show, just seeing an email right now, we will have the crypto burb on at some point next week, Adrian Zadunchuk. Wow, look what's happening right now. It is another one. But we also have $3 in the money on Nvidia. And I'll tell you a story of what I was just talking about with the boys as they were loading up some alcoholic beverages into the fridge. What's up, Adara?
I'm seeing some reports here from the Wall Street Journal with regards to that Reddit IPO, RDDT said to be the ticker, but some new updates here as well. The company is preparing to IPO this month, according to the Wall Street Journal, targeting up to a $6.5 billion valuation in the IPO, and that it aims for a range of $31 to $34 a share in the IPO, according to sources as reported by the Wall Street Journal. So just some updates on that impending Reddit IPO, guys.
Bye-bye, Fisker. And by the way, thank you so much for that. I'm shorting whatever Reddit, IPO, whatever it comes out, anything like that. Here we go, man. 54 cents. So not only do we cash out on Fisker early on the sticky note right there on this short, but now we're just running this thing again right now. So we're here, baby. We've got $3 in the money on Nvidia. We've got now 25% in the money or so on Fisker here. Wait a minute, 8 cents on 40 cents, whatever that is, 20%. 20% in the money on Fisker early short, and then 20% on the money Fisker long late, plus Nvidia right here right now spinning out 250 in the money right now for this one. So yeah, I mean, you guys can ride with that Fisker position. I'm just holding it to see how far this name can go. We've seen it get up to what, 75 cents there the last little while.
70.
Yeah, so whatever, that top wick was 80 or so. If we can get into that level, then that would be pretty sweet. And then, wow, for that one. But we are really, really excited right now because as long as you were sitting here with me the last hour, then there's one short, there's two shorts, there's three shorts, and here we go again for NVDA. Again, rocking up the top here. The number one stock today, hands down, is going to be Meta. P&L wise. So that's it right there. And Nvidia is making a move right now as well, trying to pass Apple for number one spot. Apple's a nice move too, all the way to the downside. So many nice things happening right now in the market. Let's just see if we can continue. Fisker is a dream, so it's actually the Fisker Ocean Lucid Dream, but we'll see if this name can go. We'll hold on to that one. And then honestly, man, I said 816 for Nvidia. Despite it being $3 in the money, I do feel pretty greedy not taking this, but Nvidia still under the 200 period. Maybe we do drop in. Let's see if 816 is something that we can get. So for right now, here it goes again. We've already taken a $6 winner on Meta. We're 3 right now, halfway there on Nvidia. Let's see if we get that target.
Stay on target. Yeah, there's another stock we don't really look at. Like, think about that. Like, we actually, like a week ago, we were thinking about some retail names that were interesting. One of them that had a reverse split, and I don't even think I've called up. If Walmart broke $60, I'll probably be a little bit upset because it was a potential breakout, but I'm guessing it never did. I'm going to reload this Uber in front of the 81. I will actually double check at some point on target. I'm going to reload Apple as well. I have canceled my Micron order If it's not going to get up there when that last market bounced, then I'm not going to get the fill. Is what it is. But Intel, hit enter twice. Intel is still breaking down. So the next available pop might have to be a lower high. I was thinking 44.20. I just got to think anything over 44, maybe into the 44.10. I want the retrace into VWAP on this name. Let's see if we can't respect that. But oh yeah, Walmart. I'll double check. I mean, if it broke the $60 level, I won't be mad. No, it didn't. It's not even close. So this is still set up. Oh, we're not going to be split adjusted. 180 was the big level on the daily. You can see here. Our charts don't split adjust, but like the 180 obviously corresponds with now $60 on Walmart. So as long as it's down here and within spitting distance, at some point I'm going to like this breakout. But another day and more patience required. I like the name, but when tech is strong, you can't be too worried about, like nobody cares too much about Walmart. No one cares too much about the Pepsis of the world. No one cares about Procter on days where AMD and Nvidia are flying the way they are. Oh yeah, ARM. Damn it. I also canceled the ARM order, just so you guys know. I was trying to grab a 42 short, but once it broke 141, it actually just broke the 140 level. There's no point just sitting on the offer. I mean, it would have to run $2 for me to get filled. If it does run $2, I'd rather play it by ear than just be sitting out in front of it. So it was a good short on ARM, but I just missed that curl off of VWAP. This is a relatively weak name. How many chip names are underneath VWAP and down almost 1%?
Not many. We have a chip name, though, that's $3 in the money. So we're going to wait for that one. Here it goes, even more, $3.50 now in the money. If we were Adara, we'd be slapping the table now. Shout out to Adara right now, but it's a nice trade coming back in, and then we do have a nice fill here. Hopefully, we'll see on Apple trying to push back in again. We're going to add to our Apple portfolio today and put on some more shorts. Like I said already, this name was well cooked from the beginning of the show, all the way down to 178 and change. Can we get back there? I mean, we can get to 179 for sure. Can we get lower than that? We are about to find out immediately on that one. We are almost now we're 2/3 almost. We're almost 450 in the money would be there. We need that, another dollar down at 817. I mean, that could be something too, right there, man. 816, 817. I mean, the fact that we're both sitting here and doing this right now is a good run right now. And look what's happening on Fisker as well. If trading big caps aren't your thing, you don't have enough cash lying around to trade the way I'm doing this on Nvidia or Apple, but you may have enough money to run a 50-cent stock. Well, that's exactly what you're doing. Get on the back and let's go. Props it up. It's Fisker. It's everything you wanted and more, and it's Adara.
We're brought to you by Simpler Trading. Take advantage of this exclusive offer for Trader TV viewers. Today, you can get a 60-day membership for just $1 to Simpler Central. Follow the latest strategies from multiple asset classes in real time.
So Apple now working back into the 179.50. I think it can get into VWAP. But remember, at when 350 hits, it was a bit weird yesterday to see. Look, it wasn't the imbalances that were weird. They were normal. What happened to the bear? He just fell down. Doesn't matter. The bear's in trouble. He's having so much fun in the afternoon. He's like, I didn't do anything all day, and then all of a sudden you want me to pull back, so the bear fell off the table. But it was so crazy, the flip on the imbalances, about 353, like things were going one way, and a bit early, there was some jockeying. So I do want these things to resolve themselves before 350. No questions asked. Maybe don't care about, I mean, Uber probably doesn't care about the imbalances. I don't expect that. But I would think the bigger names, like the Apples of the world, I'm going to care about that. So we get down to VWAP. I'm trying to reload it in front of 180, and it's not really getting there. But if we get down to VWAP or the 179, time to get out. Frank, NYCB. You know, we didn't look at that one. Not a great report for NYCB. You couldn't look at everything today, and I was noting that not everything was strong, but this is not a very good story here for New York City Bancorp. It did end up bouncing, but that's probably more of a relief rally than anything else, and then starting to give it back up again. We'll see if there's any more contagion with some of the smaller banks. But yeah, not everything is going to be up today. Tech, strong, but you've got these kernels of weakness out there all over the place. Not a great look for NYCB. But hey, that's why we had the story for you. Wasn't trying to chase this bounce at all.
All right, I was just thinking about it, and yeah, with those imbalances coming through, I mean, we still want to be in the trade. There's nothing wrong with. Oh yeah, by the way, we just take 20. We just got a 55 fill right there on Apple. So like we're talking about stacking up, and I feel like now, which was what I was just going to say, that Nvidia just bounced off 818 pretty nicely there. So we are now well under. Look at it starting to get back. We've done well to hold this. You know, for it to go all the way back would be pretty much a shame there. So maybe we'll just take a piece out here at like 818. I mean, I don't even know if it might not even dip back into that level again. So then it was a nice move down for NASDAQ. Let me just see here. It's more because like I have more shares. Apple's a much newer position. I'd rather have that one go down too. Well, maybe they'll both go. But anyways, yeah, the NASDAQ looks like it wants to bounce. There's really no significant levels here, 18,320. I mean, we are way, way above all of this. So we can look at our daily chart, but we've already talked about this. It's already through. So let's look at a 30-minute chart. These are already highs. So again, we talked about clear sailing moving forward.
Blue sky setup.
Yeah, so this is what it is, man. It's all aboard. And we talked about that breaking through here, 18,120. So that's the break. Now we go higher. Now let's see what happens, man. 18,350. That's where we're at right now. So let's start to, think about some of these positions as we get new ones on board. So, all right. So that's the NASDAQ coming.
I got a question. Well,
yeah, that's the NASDAQ coming through, and then Apple just made a move right back to the upside. So it's a good thing we got some out, but I'm still watching out for that 180. But questionable.
Month of March over under. Does Boeing hold 200? Because they just
they
just had the SPR news. That's the reason I want to ask this.
Yeah,
because
but what did it do on that news? Because I think
it bounced off 200 again.
It's just about the valuation. I've already talked about. I love Boeing. Like I think 230 before 170, which was that bottom that we talked about. Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know. What do you think? Because
look, my whole
holding.
Look, I own Boeing, and it's been holding the 200 level. Understandably, if they make a deal to buy SPR and it's stock in value, it's in stock, let's just say, or it's cash, it's going to cost them and it's going to devalue the stock. However, remember, a lot of Boeing's problems had to do with them outsourcing production and then quality concerns. Bringing it back in-house, I think, should be seen as a good thing. It's probably going to, if there is a deal, it's probably going to get hung up in regulatory nonsense, but I kind of like the 200 level. Usually stocks go down when they make an acquisition, but I got to admit, I kind of like this one. So I'm kind of thinking it holds. By the way, 200 isn't exactly the support level. It's 197. But yeah, I should have said, does it hold these recent bottoms? The bottom's actually 197. I'm inclined to think yes, because it didn't break it on the news. But anything can happen with that. Reload for me, I didn't get Apple up there, but I did get a reload on Palantir. Up in front of the 90s, or at 90s, I should say, up in front of 93. So 93 is a local high. I just reloaded it at 90. And we'll see if that can come back into the downside. It's 320. We still got some time. But when those imbalances hit, I want to start resolving some things instead of getting back in and refreshing positions.
All right. So we've already refreshed our Apple short. And again, just want to mention to everybody, tonight there will be no market recap show. We will be having the podcast, so check out our podcast tomorrow morning. I don't really know why we released it at 10 o'clock, but that is when it's being released tomorrow, so check it out on your... On what? Yeah, we just feel like it. Yep, that's right. So it's going to be released tomorrow at 10 a.m. We should change it to 9 a.m. Why don't we 9 a.m.?
See, here's the thing. I actually thought the earlier the better, but
let's change it to 9 a.m.
But you could do it. Why wouldn't you do it at 8? It doesn't really make a difference.
I don't know why either.
Because if you get when I get the notification on Spotify, it's not like the notification. Like, who cares? If I get it at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, it makes no difference to me.
I know, and everybody wants to wake up that early, anyways, on the weekend.
My daughter's waking up at 6:30, not 7 these days.
So that's what I wanted to tell everybody. So I was over there and I was showing everybody because they're having some drinks after, and of course they're like, "Yo, stay with for some drinks," and I was like, "Okay, let me show you this." So I threw down the calendar. Not only do I have this podcast that I have to do, but then I have to hustle because my son has a game tonight as well. He was chess last night, hockey tonight. My parents are coming as well as my brother-in-law. So that's going to be a fun night. That night is finished. Then tomorrow morning we have, again, double hockey in the morning. Then I have baseball evaluations in the afternoon. Then we're going to the Leaf game in the evening. Then we have more hockey the next morning. Then we have baseball evaluations in the afternoon. Then we have baseball draft at Sunday night. So my whole weekend as of right now is over. So I hope you guys enjoy
Dad
your
life.
weekend. Yeah, dad life and work life, really. I mean, I like doing the podcast, but it does take a lot of time. So get ready for that tonight. Should be a lot of fun. Shout out to Fabian, Ramin, and Brendo there. And shout out to everybody, man. Neil has those lessons of the day. Oh, God. Just as I'm speaking, an email just popped in.
AVGO.
High Park evaluations this weekend update. Great. I'm not even going to read it. All right, so let's go. There's Apple on the reload.
Yeah, you'll read it eventually.
Well, of course, I'll read it eventually. Here it comes down. I'm the head coach of one of the Little League teams. It's actually quite a good thing there for me. But again, it'll be fine. And we're saying this in the thing. It's like, this is what we want to do. Like, I choose this, right? So Pikachu, I choose you. And I mean, the thing is like, there'll be nothing else, obviously, that we'd rather be doing today than that. So
Yeah,
I like being busy.
Honestly, it's people say that all the time. Oh my goodness, when you're a parent, like your days are spoken for. You're waking up earlier. You're always doing something. Like I had the day off, and I was telling Sharif how the day went. I thought I was gonna get a chance to do my taxes. I think I had like 30 minutes and barely got them started because. There's some cleaning up in the house I had to do. School ends early, so I had to do a thing for my daughter. And when she came back, all she wanted to do was play. I mean, there's a weird game she has with this like sword and shield, so that was just like an exciting thing.
Apple.
And then we played Codebreaker for like 2 hours because she is obsessed with Codebreaker. That game was hot fire when I was a kid. It's still a thing now. I don't know if you've ever played that. Codebreaker is a ton of fun. I hadn't played it in years, and now we play it every single day.
I don't even know what it is.
There was a question about LVS for me, but I don't like. I've never invested in a casino.
I only
name.
own Win.
You own Win. It's down 6%. So I don't necessarily know the story here. It doesn't look fantastic. It just failed the 200-period moving average today. So I don't know necessarily what's going on. They didn't report or anything, did they? They would have been on our watch list if they had reported.
LVS? Well, Win is also down. There's probably some bad news in China, probably Macau and things like that. Those are the two big Macau ones, Win and LVS.
Yeah, I would defer to you on that one. I just know that it's not good. You just failed the 200 period today, and you're bouncing off to 50. Bit of a reversal of this breakout happening on Las Vegas Sands. Doesn't look that good.
On last week's podcast, we went bullish on Bitcoin at 51,000, 63,000, 62.3 right now, with a high of 64.5. Bitcoin's had a beautiful run. Lately, there is no doubt about it. And we talked about Solana earlier on today. And here we go, man. Nicely done to the upside for a lot of these coins. Dare I say, the proper name of these coins, but they're not treating like that today. As they go, altcoins, straight up to the upside. 70 cents now for Cardano. Look at the 7-day on this, man. Dogecoin is only up 61%. So anyways, they keep on going up. The new market cap of the whole crypto space is $2.43 trillion, just a little north of Nvidia's valuation. So Bitcoin itself, 1.2 trillion. So much more room to go on all of those. Congratulations if anybody was able to buy any of those dips. I was checking some of the records, and it was a good one. All right, here, just quickly, Nvidia, we did take that fill there. We talked about it, so we'll take, that's where are we short? I'll just do the math. 821.50, we got out at 818.50. So that's a 1, a 2, a $3 winner there at 18.50. So, $6 on Meta, $3 there on Nvidia. Only a half hour more to go. Today is a good day.
I was about to ask you a question, but I'm just going to message in the chat. You guys should do this in the pod. Because I saw the market caps of those, and the first thing I thought about was, interesting. That market cap is very similar to this market cap. And there's some fun you could do with that.
Yes.
With regard to the crypto names. Kodak, that's right. Mr. Guliev in the chat there. Look, we didn't talk about Kodak for the majority of the day today because it seems to, why is that a fail?
What's our problem?
Well, I don't see why it's a fail that we, actually, okay, fine.
I didn't hit it.
I didn't hit the fail just because we didn't mention Kodak today. It's up 8%.
Fabian, I see you over there.
Fabian secretly was buying Kodak on that news yesterday.
Yeah, he wants us to talk about it.
But the way I look at it, the volume was so low that if they were really getting a big chunk of the $1.3 billion surplus in the pension fund, then A, the stock should have doubled, and B, there'd be a ton of volume into it. So there is a rally because it's still a short squeeze type name. And if you took it long, have a look at the $5 level. There's still a breakout possibly happening next week on this. It just seems to me that the news maybe isn't quite as big a deal as we would have expected, but To each your own. It just seems ridiculous. Like, if they're getting half of that 1.3 billion, a quarter of that 1.3 billion, that's the market cap right now on Kodak. So if that was true, I feel like the stock would be mooning right now. A little bit more than it is. 8% is nothing to sniff at.
That's funny. I never had said this in forever here. I just posted this up on Twitter. That's funny that you said that. I just said here on Fisker, I said I haven't said this in forever. Still going here with Fisker, still at 20% here, when moon. And then you literally said moon right when we said that. So there it is. There's the bid. There's the thing. I didn't download that one. The only moon.
There it is.
You have it. Okay,
I did.
The only one I have. So I have this one, but this is more about for AMC. Like the guy had some popcorn here.
I actually have a weird question about that. I love that graphic, by the way.
That's a good one.
But why does it have to destroy the moon? Like the rocket could just go past. It could just go past the moon, which would be okay too.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, because if the moon were destroyed, like all you know what would break loose if you actually destroyed the moon. Speaking as a nerd here. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we should be destroying any moons,
No.
nerd or not. But yeah, we'll be careful with that. Don't hit that animation if you're a fan of the moon.
I still love it.
But we're on the moon. Anyways, I do have those. You know, you have those Kanye moments where you're from Mars. But you know what? Honestly, why am I on Siri? Oh yeah, I loaded up Siri before to get in and out. So this was to show our position. Sometimes you have to go in and out, and I meant to click on Nvidia there, and I clicked on Siri. That was my in and out there. Siri's the best stock. This is like a test symbol. It does absolutely nothing. All right, so I kind of want to reload more on Apple here. I apologize about these wicks. There's really nothing we could do about them, unfortunately. Okay, so right into there, 179.60. Let's see if we continue to pull down right now. So hopefully we can break it and get lower. We are bidding again. We just reloaded it.
Should be getting the early looks.
Again, yeah, we should be getting an early look, but my trade's sort of already done here today. We've been really doing some good damage into the close. I hope you've been seeing some of these trades. Let's see if NVIDIA goes to the downside. Fisker, I might just get out of this. Maybe if we break 55 to the downside, we'll just get out. There goes Apple, man. We are putting damage on this name, so let's just floss it off here for Apple as it's making that move down. We just get another 50 fill here. Good trading for Apple off the 50-period moving average. And again, the sticky note short. We've been wanting this short all day. So should have been more short, actually. I wish I would have been noticing this as well. Oh, yeah, we were too busy shorting NVIDIA and getting out of everything else. Meta was the story today, though. Wow.
It still is. I mean, the market's, look, even in this pullback, the market's still up 1.5. It didn't get to 2%. Oh, ho-hum, so what, the market didn't get to 2%. This is on a day where I feel like you would have been surprised. I would have thought there'd be a little bit more profit taking after the ridiculousness that you saw with AMD, especially after that inflation number. But I got bids out. The early look on the imbalances I haven't seen, but let's go to Adair. Maybe she's got it.
Unfortunately, there is no early look on the imbalances. They're having technical issues once again, unfortunately. But it should be coming. The normal imbalance is at 350, and I will bring that to you guys again. Apologies for the inconvenience. Also, I wanted to touch on that Kodak Eastman story once again. So yesterday, we heard reported by Bloomberg that they were considering tapping their pension fund surplus after disbanding the team that oversaw the pension fund on Wednesday after the market closed. Then this morning they announced that they've hired an outside consulting firm, NEPC, to help them deal with this extra $1.2 billion. They're exploring a variety of options, including potentially paying off some debt. So basically, just the long and short of this story is they now hired a company to help deal with this, this extra surplus in the pension fund for KODK, guys.
Thanks very much, Adara. That's what it's all about. But they're doing a fantastic job in the afternoons. You can see Brendan hard at work right here at his desk. See as I'm pointing to him. And Adara filling in at the desk, doing a great job for the last couple of weeks. You might not have the imbalances, but you know what? We have an early look source for individual names where we can line up some of the NYSE names and just see if there's anything crazy happening. Pfizer, notorious for pairing off, is 1.4 million to the buy side. Most of these are not that big. BAC is a bank at 1.2 is not that big of a deal. So I'd say the ones over a million, nothing too crazy, but the early look didn't look that didn't look insane at this time either. And remember, that's just New York. So we're not going to get anything on to the Apples and Amazons of the world until about 15 minutes from now, where we will show you when they come out. So you're back underneath the 179.50 on Apple. Hold this 50 level. You want to hold this to the downside for sure. It's a big level. Yesterday was yesterday's bottom. Oh yeah, Tesla. Did I cancel my order on Tesla? Yes. Okay. Tesla, never mind. It actually is trying to hold that 203 level. I was thinking it could have dipped down into VWAP. But yeah, this pullback, not everything is going really that far. Like Tesla is traded a pretty tight range this afternoon. I had one bounce off the 03, and now it can't even get back down into the 01.5 or VWAP for a bit of a bounce play. We'll cancel that kind of a notion. Because if this thing falls $1.50 into the imbalances, I don't know if I want to jump on that knife unless it's after the imbalances, where it would look a little bit more interesting post 350. Let's go to the screen and get a late sector watch with Adara.
As we wind down the day and week, we're going to look at some of the names making outsized moves today to the high side or the low side in the S&P 500, including Eli Lilly. This one up over 3% after getting a price target increase from BofA Securities, maintaining a buy rating and raising the price target from $800 to $1,000. So nice look here for LLY. Next up, we have Amgen, AMGN, this one announcing that they're going to be presenting at the TD Cowen Healthcare Conference. But perhaps more of note, Goldman Sachs actually added this one of the names replacing Apple on their conviction buy list. So nice look here for AMGN. Last but not least, Dominion Energy to the downside, down about 6% after concluding a business review this morning, announcing that they're also going to be having their investor meeting, but more potentially of note, during this review, they basically announced they are going to be lowering their financial guidance for 2024. So a bit of a weak look there for Dominion Energy. D to the downside here, guys.
So if I heard that right, that was Amgen going on the conviction buy list over Apple. Interesting timing of that one. And just making a bounce today is Amgen after pulling back a sweet 18% on the month. So pull back 18% off the highs, almost at the 200 period. Conviction buy. I guess they like to dip into VWAP on that one. But
Amgen, I like Amgen. UNH has been going. We talked about that.
I mean, the group's been pulling back.
Yeah.
It's sort of like when you're buying these types of things, you really want to be getting them on the dip because they don't always parabolic things. They don't always parabolically move. So when you get these pullbacks, those are the times to get into those value-ish type of names. Eli Lilly is not silly, Comp SRX. How dare you? We like some Eli Lilly here.
Yeah.
It is silly in a good way, I think. Eli Lilly, I'll take it.
Of course, man. It's at all-time highs.
Almost. Actually, well,
a couple bucks away. All right, so I want to get more Apple in right now, but I'm not. I'm going to put some on at 57 here. But, there it is. We just get that fill there. But this, it could get going into the close. I don't know. The NASDAQ's up 1.5. It's kind of sucky to be holding all the shorts here when we only have Apple and Nvidia. But Nvidia is $3 in the money. So I'm feeling no ways about that as this continues to go downside there. So I'm not. We were waiting for more short, but we're very specific with our short price, and I'm going to actually cancel those now. They didn't get up there. I was waiting for the same price again. Didn't happen. It came $1 within there. Now we just wick lower and lower and lower, and here we go. We just reloaded Apple. So let's see if it wants to work now and come back in a little bit. We still are waiting for more. I was going to get out if we broke, and again, I apologize for these wicks. I was going to get out if we broke 80s, which is right here. So that's 75. I was just going to get out if we break 80. So I am looking for more short in here, right around 70 or so. So if that can come through, then we'll take that on Apple. So that's going to be a short in and around 70, decent amount of shares because we're only going to give it 10 or 15 cents worth of a stop into 80. So good reload so far. Obviously, we reloaded 58 or whatever it was there. So here it comes back in a little bit. We need it to go down more than now, but we'll take a bid at 47 if we can, put another bid at 42, and then we'll wait to see if we do get that push into 179. And then if we make that low, then we're Gucci on that one. But for right now, we're going to have to wait for Apple. I still wouldn't mind it bumping up a little bit, but we are getting close to the imbalances. So,
and as that's happening, you sort of adjust targets. And for myself, I'm not giving Uber to 81 anymore. The lower high is 80, 90 where I'm short, so I'm just going to go break even, stop on that. If it gets to VWAP, it gets to VWAP. Palantir, similar thing. I'm no longer giving it to $25. So the 25 short is come and gone. The lower high here is 93. So I reloaded in front of that. My stop goes to that level. It's just that simple. Try to keep it relatively simple. Palantir is going to be spicy on Monday if it's still trading at that same level, because if there's an iceberg at 25, the other side of that coin is 25 possibly breaking. And that would be spicy because, remember, I feel like it failed that little breakout, and if it makes a higher low off 24, higher lows into a flat top means breakout potential. So a little bit of a pullback. If it holds on to 24 and Palantir, should be worth a watch next week for making a fresh 52-week high. That said, the good thing about breakouts, if it doesn't happen, you do not have to take the trade. And when they do, some of them have been explosive, but you've got to take the good with the bad. I'll be the first to tell you, like as great as Nvidia was, this morning when I sat down, my first thought on AMD 200 on the initial break was that it was going to be like, the AMD was going to be just like the breakout that we had on Nvidia when it broke. I think it was the 600, not the 500. I said 500 earlier. I think it was 600. But it wasn't. That said, it was still a good long if you were able to catch it in some other entry points. But I still like the breakouts in a bull market. When a bull market's going, that's when you take breakout trades.
Yep, and the only two trades that were going to be red on there was those Nvidia trades. Was AMD breakout there, and then the Palantir breakout. Other than that, man, it's been a really good day. We have two red names today, AMD and Palantir. Other than that, everything else is Greensville. So so far so good. See, there's the break. It's just that it didn't work, and then we averaged it in right there. Then on the way back up, we made a lot back. Like we did. Whoa. I'm just talking about being red on the name, not any sort of disaster striking or anything. But right there, nice move to the upside, VWAP, and then, yeah, what a great fade off 25. So that was a good one there into today. Oh, man.
Shout out to the chat for that one, by the way.
Yeah. Well, shout out to the Midday. They were actually talking about Palantir all midday.
Adara was on it as well.
Yep. But yeah, like we mentioned, you're going to miss some trades, but a good shout out there for them, for sure. Apple, okay, so... we just missed getting more short there. Oh no, we did. Oh no, that's the trade that you guys saw me get. Yeah, so it didn't come into where we thought. I thought it got to 65, 66. It didn't. So we're gonna have to wait for that. So right now we are still waiting for Apple to either pop or drop. But we have
down, open up shop.
Yeah, it's got to do that, right? So one of those two things, and that's that. We're still holding a very small piece of Nvidia because we did get it out there. So now we'll just hold and see if it wants to fall back into that 816. If it does that, then great. With only 20 minutes left, yo, what's up, Darwin from Ponzi Fonzie, and what's up to Ponzi Fonzie? You guys want to shout out, so there you go. You get 2 for 1 special rate there. All right, so here comes Apple. I'm going to put a bid at 50. Actually, you know what? Forget about it. We'll cancel that 50 bid. Let's see how low we can go here on Apple.
Limbo.
It's one of the only trades we have right now. If the futures do fail, did anybody get that imbalance number? Because...
Look, I haven't seen it, and the source that we usually look at, it's just a source. It's just like Financial Juice usually tweets it out, right? So if they don't tweet it out, then we don't necessarily have it. I was looking at some things on my high of the day Momo scanner on Trade Ideas. Our low just hit a high, but the volume not that great. So even if we don't have the early look imbalance, we can look at New York individual names. So judging by what I'm seeing here, a lack of sort of higher price names and the lack of names over $1 million on the early look, I'm not anticipating it's gigantic in one direction or the other. There are more sells than there are buys above $500,000. So it does seem like it's going to be more of a sell imbalance. But that's just based on a small number of New York names on the early looks. We're always going to have that for you every single day. Oh, and just because, just another, I just saw on there, like, reminder to like and subscribe. Another reminder with only 15 minutes to go of the podcast tapes tonight, which does mean that there is no market recap show. But it also means that you've got a little extra juice for the weekend, for your weekend listening. At 10 o'clock, it gets released. Although now that we've determined that there isn't actually a reason why it's released at 10 o'clock, maybe it'll be... Oh, right. So Ramin's in my ear because Ramin said so is why it's at 10 o'clock. I'm not going to argue with Ramin. Ramin is very sweet and gives me treats whenever she brings them in to the floor. So we'll keep it at 10 o'clock because she said so.
All right. I still think we're going to move it to 9, but yeah, we will.
Logical sense.
Yeah, we'll let everybody know when that happens.
It'd be more logical to have it out earlier, but that's just.
Yep.
That's just logic.
Yep. We'll get that. We'll get that decision flowing through. But for tomorrow, 10 a.m. So, all right. Right now, look, man, there's not too much to talk about. I just hope everybody has a great and a fantastic weekend. Here comes Apple making a move back to the upside. So, again, this is not going to be a day maker or breaker, but I do like a short here. I'm waiting for higher than where, okay, we'll punch into a little bit of 64s there. I'm waiting for higher though on this name. So hopefully we can get it. I don't know if we're going to get anything higher right here, but here it comes right now. So we're getting out at, okay, so there it is. So we're getting out at 80. So again, we don't have those early look imbalances. I mean, it could be a monster buy.
Like yesterday.
Yeah, like yesterday where Apple just went nuts into the close. So I don't know if people are thinking about that now, but this is the short that we'll have, and we're not going to give this much room. A break higher on this one and we down. So let's be very, very patient with what we're doing here on Apple and start to scalp some out, put some in the low 60s. If we're able to get that, then we'll do it. But here it comes. All right, so a little bit of a move in for Apple. We're short at 69er, and we'll take some more outs down here as we get some 62s and whatnot. Let's go over to Adara for a read.
Brought to you by IG.com. Trade Forex pairs like Euro USD with spreads as low as 0.8 pips and zero commissions at IG. Terms and conditions apply.
You know, the impressive thing about Brendan is like he could sit there at his desk working and still be able to seamlessly do that IG read, and you guys couldn't even tell that he was able to run up there and then run back. He's quick on his feet. He thinks on his feet there, especially when you ask him questions he doesn't answer on the podcast. Whatever.
Oh, Brendo? Yeah. He's a busy guy.
Definitely a busy guy.
Podcast mogul over there. All right,
Thanks, Mr. Westermeyer.
So we will, there's Super Chat. We'll get to that in a minute. I don't know what you guys are looking at right here, but we just scalped out of Apple there. It fell in, man. We got 56s, we got 58s, we got some low 60s. Like, all we're really doing, guys, is stacking it. Like, we have 5 minutes until these imbalances come out. Like, we can get taken out immediately out of this trade. Like, immediate. Did I say immediately? Immediately. So let's get ready for this. I'm going to put another bid. Well, we already have a bid at 52. Then we are 55. Then we have a 42. And let's see if we get some of those. But here it comes in. You know what? I'm going to punch out some 60s right now. 58, 59 half there. Let's just keep getting it out. It's a good little trade here to end the day with only a couple more minutes left on that. And Mr. Westermeyer says, for $5, yo, so many predictions didn't happen. Correct. Yeah, a lot of predictions don't happen, but let's see what he's talking about here.
What other predictions?
Chris Brecher, bond divergence pullback yesterday. Wow, Chris, I can't believe that didn't happen. Statistic back to 1928 showed last 2 weeks in February down. So the bond divergence didn't happen. So yesterday we had the market. What was the NASDAQ doing yesterday? Up, right?
Yeah.
So bonds, you're saying divergence. So going the opposite way? Did they go the same way?
I didn't look at bonds
unfortunately,
yesterday.
man.
I didn't look, so I have no idea.
I'll ask him about this, Mr. Westermeyer. Chris, I think will be on next Wednesday. I'll bookmark this, and if you can slightly remind me, or Bears versus Bulls on that day, and we'll ask him about that. Call out.
I have a beef the last 2 weeks of February thing.
Yeah.
Because I find every time there was a stat I saw and it talked about like the different percent moves in it. Well, it was a tweet, different percent moves in February. But if you looked at what caused it to be down, like there was like 3 or 4 Februarys out of the last 50 years that really skewed the data set. And like one of them was like the February in 08. I find like some of that seasonal stuff, like it's cute and it's fun for anecdotes, but when they're not that statistically significant, sometimes they're not that big of a deal. So I can't speak to the bond divergence. I'll defer that.
That's what I just said to him. Like
Chris Brecher. But the whole last 2 weeks of February thing, a lot of times those are not the most statistically significant statistics that get thrown out there. A lot of them are fun. If they can give you a little bit of an extra edge on a trade you would have done anyways, like if you're already bearish on something, that's one thing, but I wouldn't read too much into it. 2.5 minutes to go till we get the actual imbalances. Remember, we didn't get an early look. I just took another out there in pounds here in front of 2480 because it keeps on holding 2480. That's pretty much it. So I'm just into Palantir. I got out of Uber as well. Uber break even. So it goes sideways, basically a 10-cent range. I also just trailed out of Apple, it looks like. Whatever. That's fine. I tightened up my stop in front of 350 because I didn't want to get stopped out on this when 350 hits, and it kind of stopped out before 350, so that's a trail out on Apple. I didn't add back into this one as I was going back into Palantir instead. But yeah, Apple, I won't be in it, and I'm actually going to cancel my stop because it doesn't need to be out there anymore.
So shout out to Chris Brecher and Westermeyer there because, I do remember he was saying that there was a lack of bond buying this month. So thinking about heading into the end of the last couple of days here in February, was expecting money to come out of the stock market into bonds to balance those portfolios, but that's not what happened. So, and again, that's why like the market is just like one of these things, man. Like, you know, do I think Apple's going to go down here? Wow, we just got to say, okay, that was a pretty good, Phil. Yes, but, you know, can something happen right now that creates us to go to the upside, like these imbalances that are coming out now that are very random? Yes. I'm going to get stopped out on this imbalance anyways, I feel like. This needs to move back into the 60s, like low 60s within the next couple seconds, or else this name is going to pop through. I'm going to take some more out here. I'm taking a 66 out. I'm just going to sit on the bid. Okay, that's it. I'll leave it at that. I'm still at 55. My problem is when the numbers come out, the stocks will often just go like, you know, make a quick little move. So you could be dead right.
Double check I'm just going to let everybody know.
Yeah.
The other stream right now, the positions are incorrect. If you're watching, trust these ones. I am not. I was never short Fisker this afternoon. I mean, once it broke that news, I only went long, and I'm not in Tesla long either at 203.
I only have you short Palantir on the other stream.
Oh, refresh it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
It's absolutely fine.
I refreshed it.
There. Yeah. As we get older, we forget to do things like, you know, refresh.
Well, someone asked me if it was correct, and I'm like, the first thing, like, okay, why wouldn't it be? If you're watching the live show, these are always pretty good. I mean, I can't remember
and like I said, today it's been 100% accurate.
I can't remember the last time we had an issue with it.
There is a note here. Anyways, here's the imbalances, so let's go. All right, we'll get that number from Madera when we do get it. But for right now, we'll find that out.
Apple's a sell, 1 million.
Okay, well, Apple's not moving, so hopefully it does come into the sell here, which is a little bit worrisome to me because if we're not moving on a sell imbalance, then at 355, when it flips over to a buy, this thing will moon. So let's wait for this. Hopefully it does pull back. I am bidding 58s right now on Apple, so if we just bounced off of us again. I'm on like Arca Gateway. It pays the best rebate, so I'll sit there on Arca and take it. But okay, so right now that's what's happening. Nvidia is a small little trade as well. We did not get any of those bids on Apple, so now we'll see if we get a 64, which we don't get either. I'm still bidding Arca. There it is. Nice, and we'll move down on 64. As I'm not seeing too much else happening right here.
2.3 billion to the sell side.
Yeah,
doesn't
so
feel like
Apple.
2.3. Intel's there. Cisco's a sell of 800,000. Intel's like 900,000. Amazon is 800,000. So I guess if you really add up some of the big names, Alphabet also there for 800,000, just slightly lower than that. So the big cap tech names led by Apple are all sell imbalances. I feel like we're not it's not moving. Probably because of the reversal that got put in yesterday. Like the imbalances really reversed at about 353. So I'd watch out for that 55 zone. If they're already not going down on that sell imbalance, I'd watch out for some flips in the next couple of minutes. That's what imbalances are there to be paired off. That's the idea. Like you publish it so that people can take the other side of that. Thank you, Mr. Westermeyer says, I love the guests, but the best call I've seen, Katina said, Sean, sorry, I've known Sean a long time, and a lot of us call him Katina. Sean Katina is the best call I've seen when you said over 2 months ago to buy. Which one, though? He didn't say which the call is. He just said to buy something. I don't know. Yeah,
buy the market, man. I mean, we talked about buying this market Jan 1 on the podcast. Thank you, Mr. Westermeyer. And Pan W's been a great trade.
Been fantastic.
I feel like we don't need to get love for the calls, but I mean, Bitcoin a week ago right now. So we were doing the podcast a week ago and 25 hours from now. And I said Bitcoin 51,000 worth a buy. I went home and bought it. 62.6 right now. And we bought iBit on the dip as well. So it's not, like we bought iBit at 34.30. I believe we tweeted it out. We had it right here live on the show. And we bought it during lunchtime on that dip down here with that Coinbase extravaganza. Right into here. It was 34.39 is my price. So it must have been into here. So there it is right there 2 days ago. Whenever it was this move actually, when we dipped down in right there on the 28th. So that was my first opportunity. And I was just like, wasn't going to log into and buy physical coins or anything like that. I had, and this is again, we talked about this and we'll probably do this on the podcast tonight. It's just about that. Now your money is sitting in the same account. So it's like when I'm selling Nvidia like an idiot at 780, you know, and let's just say I sell $2,000 worth. Well, now that $2,000 sits in my same account. I don't have to take the money out. I don't have to pay taxes, nothing like that. And I just rotate that money now into another name. So I go, okay, I think NVIDIA's heated, which wrong call, and I'm gonna put it into something else. Before, I'd have to take my money out of my TFSA or whatever account I'm in, and I'd have to deposit it into Coinbase, Binance.
Speaking of Coinbase,
WonderFi.
One of the things that I do with my personal account is WonderFi.
You could have a WonderFi account. You know what I'm saying?
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Look, the reason I actually have a Coinbase account has more to do with the fact that when I was looking to buy the dip after its IPO, I was like, well, maybe I should have an idea of how it works and blah, blah, blah. So I did, whatever. I opened an account and put some money from a wallet into it, and I still have it. But when it comes to long-term investing, I love the notion of always having money at work. So I'm all about, when you sell something, I'm putting something back in.
Yeah.
When I'm selling Coinbase, which recently, it's going in one of two places. If SI existed, which it doesn't, that's the thing I used to trade. But now it just goes into BTC, and I'm the same way. Now I'm still using the Canadian ones, which I don't think I have to do. But it doesn't make a difference. I actually think the fees will end up more reasonable in the U.S. ones than the Canadian one. But that's why I'm going to eventually switch over. But I sell Coinbase, and it goes into Bitcoin. But it goes into Bitcoin in the ETF.
Yeah.
Not into it. Just and it's
right.
And I talked to my barber about this as well. I go, now all of a sudden you don't have to worry about it. You should just have it in your TFSA and invest in Bitcoin. By the way, 355 happened. I flatted Palantir at flat. And if you look at those imbalances, you don't see any of the big cap tech names over the million anymore because they all flipped. So Google's still there for 600,000, but Apple, I don't see Apple anymore. I don't see Amazon anymore. Looks like they must have paired off there. The sell imbalances on the big cap tech names must have just paired off. I don't see them.
I shorted the wrong name, you know? Like, I was really, first of all, Apple's fine, man. Apple's going to be P&L number 2, man. Meta P&L number 1, Apple P&L number 2. Oh, we just got out of NVIDIA, by the way, but we had a small piece left. I'm so happy we did that, honestly, down here at 8:15. Can we go here, Fabian? I'm so glad that we did this at 8:18.50, honestly. Like, if I didn't get out there, then didn't also get out there, I would be distraught with myself. But, okay, it's Google. And again, my friend from baseball just messaged me again. Look at Bitcoin, by the way, right now. 63,000 into the close and ripping. We talked about that, possibly ripping this weekend, Bitcoin. Okay, so Google. Anyways, the story was that my friend's messaging me about these chip names, and he's like, well, I guess the next big thing is quantum computing.
Who do you think that's going to be, everybody?
I mean, there's reasons why I'm dropping down Google and different things like that. Intel could be involved with that.
I just bought Google.
We have Dell. We have.
Actually, I'm mad about Intel because after the earnings,
shit ton of Google.
After the earnings, I was stink bidding 33, 34, and it can't even break $40. I really thought that quarter was stunk for Intel, and there was going to be a dip that could be bought. But this market doesn't seem to care. It is what it is. But yeah, I think they're going to be decent for quantum computing. By the way, Dell got back to 120. I didn't even notice this. Dell got back to 125 this afternoon.
Dell's a monster.
It's an absolute monster. It hit 130. 131 was a wick at the open. So I'll call it 127. There was legit buying up there. But Dell, 31%. 31%. This is not Carvana. This is Dell.
Yep.
Legit.
Yep. Shout out to my girl Danielle Shea. The options, queen of options. No, I just made that up, but shout out to you, Danielle. Go check her out. Yeah, what's up, Chef Joe? Chef Joe's always cooking. Chef Joe, man, I'm not going to forget it. You owe us some steaks, and it's not that he owes it to us. It's just we got to go visit, man. When the next time we're in the NYSE, we're coming there. You said you're in Times Square. I'm coming. I'm coming for you, Chef Joe. We're going to have some nice ribeye or whatever you choose. Tomahawk? I don't know, whatever you want.
I like the tomahawk.
Whatever you want. Whatever you want, Chef Joe. He wanted me to, yeah. Fabian, you want to come too, Fabian? You down? You down, Fabian?
Can we, hold on
Let's go.
Can we do Vegas first?
Yeah, man, we can do Vegas. All we have to do is ask any of our viewers if they work at hotels in Vegas, and we're coming down. But I want to show Dogecoin right now. 12 cents, man, really starting to rip over the last 12 hours. Has been a huge move, up to 13, 14 cents for Dogecoin. That's for you, Mr. Chef Joe. coming through. But yeah, man. So now, sorry about that, Chef Joe, but now we got to bring Fabian. So that's another one. And I don't know if Ramin is down.
Ramin's
down too. Yeah. Okay, Brendan, you're not allowed. Brendan's going to stay here. He's going to host. He's going to do the midday. He's going to trade. He's going to do everything. We're going to go.
Brendan and Sharif can host, and we'll be good.
Yeah. For sure, Sharif's going to have to stay here. So we're going to watch out for that one. And then we'll go to Vegas after that. But for right now, the tour starts in NYSE. 7-hour drive. That's it. We could be there, no problem.
We don't have to drive to New York.
We can fly.
We can fly to New York.
No, I'm saying it's not far.
No, it's not far. We don't have to drive, though. I mean,
like, we don't even have to get plane tickets, man. We can head right down. We can be there for midnight, baby.
Billy Bishop, man. Like, the airport's right here.
Yeah.
You hop on the ferry. There's 2 airports in Toronto. You hop on the ferry. It's like literally.
We can invite Sharif, but we'll make
20
him
minutes
drive.
from the office.
That's what we'll do. We'll make Sharif drive.
Yeah, let Sharif drive. I'm not driving 7 hours. You know what?
Exactly.
Actually, no,
we're gonna get a party bus, man. We're gonna get an RV.
Sean's,
one of those Volkswagen.
Sean's bachelor party years ago was actually a really fun road trip.
Yeah.
So I'm all down. I love a good road trip. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to crap.
As long as my brother's
trip.
not driving.
That's what I was gonna say. Like Sean's brother. I love Mike.
Yeah, I don't know.
He might be like I don't think I've ever.
Like a maniac.
That is probably the only time in my life that I've been inside of a car where normal vehicle operation was happening and I was afraid for my life.
Really?
Like, he
You
wasn't
were afraid?
He wasn't speeding, but I was still afraid for my life. That's all I'm gonna say. And I'm not like I love
He wasn't
Mike.
speeding. I thought he was speeding.
I love your brother, but that was. It wasn't just me. Cheese was freaking out too. The bell dropping in.
Oh no,
5,
I'm not even out of my position.
4, 3, 2, and 1. Ring it, Adara.
Yeah, we have a friend named Cheese.
So I buried the lead with that. So we went golfing in North Carolina. So South Carolina.
Yep.
For Sean's bachelor party, and we did a road trip. It was fantastic. We rented an SUV. I don't even know what we rented.
I think it was a minivan at that point.
No, it wasn't.
Oh yeah, extended like a Tahoe or something.
Yeah, something like that. But we're sitting there, and I was resting in the back, myself and Cheese, and you were in the front with your brother. I think you were sleeping too because we were taking turns. And all I remember is this: every single, when people drive on TV and they're doing this, but you don't actually do that, so you're not really going sideways. You're just doing it to pretend. That's what he was doing. That's what he was doing. I'm like, why is there this much movement happening when you're just driving straight, bro? Yeah. You don't have to be correcting every 2 seconds. Like, let the car just move.
I wonder, I'm going to talk to him about that one.
You should talk to him about it.
I don't think I was asleep. I think I remember. I remember what you're talking about there.
Cheese is the man. Roger, this is our boy. We used to have season tickets with Cheese.
Yeah.
For the Buffalo Bills. But it's 4 o'clock. Just a reminder, everybody.
We have
podcast tapes tonight, and then for reasons, it is available at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning because Ram says so. So there's no market recap. It will be the podcast being taped.
Ram has done the market research, and 10 a.m. is the hot time.
Oh, she wakes up at 10 o'clock.
Yeah. So she wakes up at 8. Yeah, I hope I'll be up.
I
didn't even tell a story this morning. My stupid smoke alarm this morning.
Oh, shit.
No. It had that little, the battery was dead. Yeah. So it goes, meh. And I was like, okay. And it woke me up. I was like, please tell me that's not the stupid battery. And then I heard again, beep, again. And I was like, oh, God damn. And it was again. And then so it was 4:30 or so.
And you're getting up.
So, of course, I'm getting up. So I got up. I had to fix it. And, of course, as soon as I take it out, this is how they say how you dance at an Indian wedding. You twist the light bulbs. So right there. So I was twisting the smoke alarm off. And, of course, once you do that, you take the battery out immediately. But the minute you take it off, it goes like crazy. So I'm running into my room. Only my son woke up, which was nice.
Oh, she didn't wake up? That's good.
No, she did not, which was great. Took the battery out. And now we're getting, so my whole house now is all Ring. So the Amazon Rings, we have the Ring cameras, the Ring security.
Yeah, let me know how that is.
So my wife is like, now we're just going to get the Ring smoke alarm / monoxide detector.
Carbon monoxide.
Get it over with.
Which is a big deal, man.
And that way I can just go like this. Stop.
Check those, man. There's a friend we went to high school with, and they had a serious carbon monoxide. Like it was, like the detector went off, and when the fire department came, they're like, "Good thing you got out of the house, man." Because it was dangerous. So, we always want everyone to be safe. I don't know why we're getting so all over the place. But shout out to everybody. It was a fantastic start to the month. It's March 1st.
Brendan's already ready for the podcast over there.
And it was a great one. Shout out to everybody. Nvidia's ripping aftermarket, apparently, because that's what it does.
Yeah.
$825, Nvidia? Apparently, we are still...
AMD 250.
We're still doing this.
All right. Yeah, thank you so much. Good weekend. What is your plans? Just stuff again? kid stuff?
Oh, yeah. Well, so, okay, we're trying to go skating,
does
but it's going to be
March
too
Madness?
warm. We've got ballet on Sunday. Tomorrow, we have a dinner. We're going to, I forget where we're going to dinner tomorrow night. My parents are coming over in the evening. I'm missing something else. It's my nephew's birthday, so I have
good.
to do a video call with him. It's Castle out east.
Yep,
It's
yep.
my other nephew's birthday today
Ooh.
in Deep River. So I'll probably,
Nice.
we'll probably doing another call tonight as well for that, because we're not going to Deep River.
No, do not do that at all. All right.
We should probably wrap it up.
Watching some Instagram here about Kanye West. This guy's crazy. Okay, we will see you guys soon. Thank you so much for watching. Join the podcast tomorrow at 10 a.m. Ciao.
Kanye West.